Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi Outs here. It is Thursday, and finally, we got Raptors basketball hosting the Brooklyn Nets tonight. Dennis Schroder returning to Toronto to play against the Raptors. We're going to finish up the second half of the season after. It's not really a second half, it's more like the last third of the season. Going forward, the Raptors have 27 games left in their schedule, and they're only at 19 wins. I'd love to get to 30 wins somehow, some way. I'd love to overpass the Brooklyn Nets somehow, some way in the standings. You know, the Nets have been reeling during this All-Star break. They fired their coach, Jacques Vaughn, and promoted Kevin Ollie as the interim coach for the rest of the season. Sean Marks citing that he fired him because he was not inspiring the energy that is conducive for winning. So that is why Jacques Vaughn got fired. There's a lot of issues with this Nets team right now. They've been losing just like the Wizards and the Pistons and the Spurs and teams like that over the last few months. So this is a very different Nets team than the team that beat us in the in-season tournament. You know, they didn't actually beat us in the in-season tournament. I'm going to tell you right now, that Nets game that we've played already this season was a railroading by Ed Malloy, the referee, to hurt us in the in-season tournament and help the Nets. So I don't even count the first game of this season with the Nets in some ways because I knew it was a cheat. It was absolutely a cheat. This was a game that was stolen from the Raptors, the old Raptors, the Raptors when we had Siakam and Anunoby and all them. But still, nonetheless, both of our teams are in a worse place at this point. And well, let's see how it goes. Darko saying that yesterday's practice was like another training camp, a lot of basic learning and getting basics down as far as defensive stuff and things that are important to him with the players. I think that also it sounds like the Raptors really got a good break. That, you know, it's been a whirlwind. There's been so much change. In some ways, the team needed to sit and reflect or just rest or just take care of loose ends. If you've been traded recently, I'm sure this was a very, very useful time off for people like RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Kelly Olynyk, people like that. So, you know, I hope the Raptors come back more oriented and organized and ready for the last part of the season and that they excel. That they're all saying in the practice interviews yesterday, they're about winning. Scotty's saying the word win a lot in his practice interviews these days, saying that he wants to win. They want to win. They want to win, and that's all they're saying. They're not about coveting this pick that could go to San Antonio. They're about coveting a play-in spot. They're about coveting the ability to play possibly in the postseason. So don't get it twisted, Raptors fans. Y'all may think we're in a tank commander mode, but we're not. We're not. These guys are going to try and win for the rest of the season, build winning habits, and build and develop our young players. If it doesn't add up to winning, well, it doesn't add up to winning, but we're going to try for damn sure. We're going to try. That's right. So get with the program. Anybody who's not wanting the Raptors to win, or you're some sort of weird person that gets mad about them losing or winning right now, just chill. All right. Let them be who they're going to be. And in some ways, they just got to figure out, you know, their identity as a team with the new players all together and move forward with that. There's a lot of good stuff that's been happening. In some ways, my shortened stream yesterday was too bad because there was a whole bunch of topics I want to talk about yesterday. But now we're going to pile them on today. We'll see if we get to them all. We'll just do the stream naturally. Whatever we talk about, we talk about. If I miss something, well, hopefully we'll catch up with it tomorrow at least. So, yeah, let's preview today's game. I might need some theme music if I'm going to sing stupid like that. All right, let's look at Brooklyn first. Brooklyn has one player on their injury list right now. Is Dariq Whitehead. He underwent successful season-ending surgery on his left shin stress reaction on Monday. I guess that was in January, actually. He's expected to miss 3 months to recover, so he's not going to probably be back this season. Dariq Whitehead. So who are the Nets? The Nets have had some changeover in the trade deadline also. Obviously, our guy Dennis is on their team now, so that does make them look a little bit different. This is their starting lineup as of right now. Ben Simmons is the point guard. Cam Thomas and Cameron Johnson are in the starting lineup. Mikal Bridges is the star, and Nick Claxton is the center. Now, it's interesting. Mikal Bridges recently said that he is not lusting to join the Knicks with all the other Villanova Wildcats. He's quite happy where he is, but he's happy to be in the same city as them. and to have some sort of convenience of seeing his guys, Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo and all them. But in some ways, he's like, I'm okay with them being on that team, and I'm okay with being on this team. So Bridges is trying to, I don't know. There's a lot of buzz about him going to the Knicks. And I think he's trying to diffuse it and show that he really values being on the Nets right now. So he's in a weird position, Mikal Bridges, for sure. The bench of the Nets looks like this. Dennis Schroder is the backup point guard. Lonnie Walker, the fourth. Jalen Wilson of Kansas is the backup small forward. So we probably will see the Kansas Jayhawks battling each other today. Jalen Wilson versus Grady Dick. Very, very close friends from their time at Kansas. So Wilson versus Dick, that'll be a matchup to watch out for. Dorian Finney-Smith is the backup power forward, and Day'Ron Sharpe, friend of Scotty, very close friend of Scotty's, actually. I don't know how many people realize Day'Ron Sharpe is in that inner circle of friendom with Scotty Barnes. So in some ways, he's going to have a friend on the other side. Dennis Smith Jr., Keita Bates Diop, let's see, Trendon Watford, Keon Johnson. Yeah, that's pretty much the Nets team. They really don't have that much star power or talent. And in some ways that makes it, if I'm really handicapping today's game, if we're arrested, Scotty comes back with that all-star luster to him, and RJ's playing very well. He's more healed with his knee. And Emmanuel's a little bit more oriented on the balance of scoring and passing that he needs to do. I think we have a good shot to beat Brooklyn tonight. I think that the Raptors need to get off on the good foot after this post All-Star. We're at home. It seems like they had really good practices. Like I said, Scotty can be a leader here and show something. And in some ways, they had an event yesterday that was very inspiring that we're going to talk about. George St. Pierre visiting the team yesterday and having a lecture for the team about winning and about never giving up and about when things aren't going right, how to adjust and get to the win still. So very inspiring speeches by the mixed martial arts fighter from Canada, Georges St. Pierre. So that's a really good something they did yesterday. Scotty in particular, very impressed with meeting him, hearing what he had to say, and inspiring him to motivate him to look for a winning attitude in certain ways. It's a really good thing. Trust me, it's a very good thing. On our Toronto side, we only have one listing right now, and it is poor Marquise Noel, still with his hamstring injury. Now, there was some changes with our lineup in the last couple days. We did not renew the 10-day contracts of Mogi and Justice Winslow, so we have one open contract, but we did sign a new player in the last couple days, just so y'all know. DJ Carton joining the Toronto Raptors yesterday. He was seen in the Georges St. Pierre talk, sitting right up front, sitting next to Scotty. DJ Carton is Desi Justice Carton. That's his middle name is Justice, y'all. That's the crazy thing. He used to be Desi Jr., but his dad cut out, and his stepdad his name is Carton. So he took his stepdad's name. And he changed his middle name from Desi Jr. to Desi Justice. So just a little bit of notes about our new Raptor. He's a point guard, 6'4", out of Ohio State. And he's been on the Iowa Wolves, playing for them before coming to us. So this should be pretty interesting. I think he's a pretty good three-point shooter. He's got some assist numbers. So, yeah, look out for the new Raptor, Desi Justice Carton. That's quite a name. It's quite a name. But, yeah, he's young. He's only 23, and he's from North Carolina. So, yeah, we'll have to see the new guy, DJ Carton. DJ Carton, look out, Four Corners. There's a new DJ on the DJ booth. That's right. All right, yeah, that's that. Of course, like I said, we've got Kelly Olynyk now. We got Oach. We got Bruce Brown. We got Jordan Wara. Yeah, we got a lot of different names on our Raptors roster list at this point. That's true. All right, let's do the ref report. All right, we've got referees for the game tonight, obviously. The referee crew is as such. Crew chief is Kevin Cutler, his 15th season out of Los Angeles, California. His favorite TV show is Homicide, Life on the Street. He loves to listen to some Luther Vandross. Never gonna give you up. No, favorite book, Positive Intelligence. His favorite meal is chicken. This man wants some chicken. He'd most like to visit Africa. He'd like to play to 20 of the top 100 U.S. golf courses, and he can play the trumpet. Kevin Cutler is a trumpet player. So if we have the referee all-star talent show, he can play a trumpet solo. See, I'm telling you, this ref talent show, Adam Silver, would be gold. People would tune in, and you could humanize the refs, and people will like the refs better, and they won't embarrass themselves because these talents are probably really good. I'll bet you Kevin Cutler can get on that trumpet and really blow, man, really blow. So yeah, let these guys do a talent contest. It'd be fun. Kevin Cutler, we lost the last time he refereed, but we did win a game before that, so we're 1-1 with him this season. We win 53% of our games, and the Nets win 48%. So the split with Kevin Cutler, the crew chief, is 53-48 for the Raptors. The second ref is Scott Twardowski. Yes, we have a couple Scotts as refs tonight. 14th season out of Washington. Scott Twardowski's old school, man. He loves the show MASH. Like the 70s show with Alan Alda, man. Bro, really? You must have been watching that as a rerun. I hope you are. I don't know. I don't know how old you are, Scott Twardowski. You may be like some old, young-looking person like Benjamin Buttons. I have no idea. How the hell is MASH your favorite TV show? What are you? In your 70s? I don't understand that. All right, favorite book, Core 52. Favorite meal, steak and mushrooms. He likes to play pinochle on an app. He'd most like to visit Norway, and he's the guy who wants to photograph hot air balloon festivals around the world. His hidden talent is landscape and astrophotography. So if he's at the talent show, he's bringing pictures and putting them on a slide, and he's showing them to you. This is a picture of a balloon regatta that I took pictures of in Sacramento 10 years ago. You can see the very colorful balloons on the horizon. This is cool stuff, Scott Twardowski. I don't want to make fun of you. I'm just saying that's a pretty cool talent. In some ways, that seems like a very happy talent. Taking pictures of hot air balloons, that just seems like an idyllic life, my man. I'm not going to hate on that. You go and live your life of frolic. Yeah, we have lost the last two games Scott Twardowski was present at. We are 1-2, according to my spreadsheet with him this season. We win 49% of our games. He's the worst ref for us today, but we have a better winning percentage than the Nets. They win 48%. Very close. 49-48 is the split with Scott Twardowski, hot air balloon enthusiast. The third ref is Scott Wall. So we're getting the Scotts. We got Scott Twardowski and Scott Wall. Scott Wall is older. He should have been having his favorite show as MASH because he's in his 30th season. Out of Jacksonville, Illinois. His favorite TV show is NCIS. He loves James Bond movies. His favorite musician is Tim McGraw. He likes to read Mitch Rapp. His favorite meal is pot roast. He plays Angry Birds. He most like to visit Rome. And his bucket list is to skydive. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Scott Wall's dad, Bill Wall, is a former USA basketball director. His mother, Patricia, is a former Southeastern Conference Associate Commissioner. So he has important people from basketball world ahead of him. His mom and his dad, directors of basketball. Very interesting. All right, let's see. Scott Wall on the win-losses for us. This season, he's actually the best ref today for the Raptors. We are 1-1 with him this season. We did lose our last game with him. We win 54% of our games when Scott Wall's present. And the Nets win 49%. So once again, a similar split, 54-49 for the Raptors. All three referees, statistically in their history, favor the Toronto Raptors today. So there you go. We got a pretty good ref crew. There's nobody that's shady in this ref crew. They're all run in the mill, pretty ordinary humdrum NBA refs that do their job. And most of the time, you don't notice them. They're not the kind of refs that make a big show or they want a lot of spotlight. These refs are very much refs that a lot of people don't know who they are, and that's usually a good thing. That's usually a good thing if they don't know who they are, even though I'm putting them on blast and telling you everything they like and that they want to skydive. But that's the information we give on the Raptor Free channel. There you go. There's your ref report. Refs looking pretty favorable for the Raptors. Let's just put it that way. All right, let me see what y'all are saying in the comments, and we'll go with the discussion for the game tonight. I feel like the Raptors have a good chance tonight. In some ways, we want to see the Raptors come out with a good effort because Sean Marks has been critical of the Brooklyn Nets for not putting a good effort out there, and that's why he fired Jacques Vaughn. And in some ways, they're going to have a little gumption in their debut for Kevin Ollie as the interim head coach. They may want to show a change to the behavior of the team because Sean Marks publicly said this. It's an article on the front page of the NBA page of the ESPN website that he publicly said and called them out. They're not getting to balls quick enough. In fact, there's stats that show the Nets are one of the worst teams at scrambling for loose balls, just so you know. So in some ways, the Raptors' identity of the last few years of being very scrappy and getting after it and using energy, well, if they do that, this is a team that we're playing today that naturally does not have that kind of energy garnering. These guys are not trying in certain ways. Let's just put it that way. Now, will there be a difference because of the regime change and the new coach? Maybe. That's what we need to worry about. Dennis has just showed up recently. He's going to put his part into it. Yeah, I want to see what's going to happen with the Nets. Are they going to be lame still? Can we make them lame still and beat their ass? Or will they come out with a new gumption because they've been talked about publicly about not playing hard enough? I don't know. Either way, the Raptors got to match them or beat them with that part of the game, the energy, the getting the loose balls, the getting the rebounds, the scrappiness. If we can do that, we have a good chance to win. That's what I'll say. I think we're a more talented team. In some ways, we may be a bigger team than them still, even with our changes in our team. We'll have to see. Claxton versus Pirtle will be an important matchup. And then, of course, we want our main superstar guys, our barbecue, to step up and be the leaders of the game in scoring and other things. If RJ, Scotty, and Emmanuel can step up and carry this team like leaders and leading scorers will, we have a good chance to win tonight. So it's on our leaders, and in some ways, it's just on us to outperform and outwork the other team, and we'll be fine. Monique's here. Good to see the super fan, Monique Lawrence. First in the chat. Good morning, Raptor Freak family, and happy game day. So much to talk about. No lie, Monique. There's a lot, and I probably will forget about some of it. So if I do, Mo, you are my safety net. Please bring it up. If you feel like there's something I left out by the end of the stream, you just add that comment in, and we'll make sure it gets mentioned because there is a whole lot out there. And I want to make sure I cover every single subject, like DeMar, like Vince. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about Vince right here. All right, let's see what Monique is giving me to talk about here. So much to talk about. George St. Pierre talking with Scotty at the practice interviews. It's interesting what Scotty said. He's like, he tried to say, no, I didn't talk to George. But Scotty, you're lying. There's pictures of you talking to George. Maybe that was after the interview that you circled around and talked to George. But he said, oh, I didn't talk to George. No, he talked to all of us. He was inspiring. He told us his life story. He told us about coming back. And, you know, Scotty's a huge MMA fan. He really is. He doesn't want to ever do it himself, but he's had MMA training. He could be a deadly, lethal MMA fighter, honestly. But he really loves and respects the sport. And so having George show up was a big deal. And in some ways, he really enjoyed coming to see the Raptors himself. I can tell on his social media saying, I just had a blast coming and speaking to the Raptors today and telling my story. This is a really inspiring thing. This is the kind of stuff the Raptors have been doing for a few years. Nick Nurse would get people like congressmen to come down and talk to them. Well, it's a similar thing. But this one in some ways is special because, first of all, it's a Canadian guy, George. And the connection between him and Chris Boucher as guys from Montreal is very big also. So there was a very cool picture of him with Chris. And Chris was very much smiling getting to meet him too. And I don't know. There seems like there's a new coach on our team, George St. Pierre. It's like, can we call him now? He's so happy to help the Raptors yesterday. Maybe he's just around. Can we just call him for motivation sometimes? Because listen, if we see any kind of difference from Scott going forward for the rest of the end of the season, I'm going to say it's the all-star, getting selected as an all-star, and meeting George St. Pierre. I'm going to say those were the things that got him there. Seriously. Because this can be very inspiring. And I think the all-star thing may be the bigger thing that makes Scott have a huge end of a season. But let's not count out the factor of meeting George for sure. Dennis is returning tonight. Dennis, you know what? Let's do the Instagram stories since you brought this up. He's on the Instagram stories. Dennis has been in a whirlwind tour all-star break. He actually went back to Germany for a bit this week. In between everything. Like this man is all over the place the last 5 days of the all-star break. He's probably spent a little bit of time up here in Canada, a little bit of time in Brooklyn getting set up, some time in Germany. He's been all over the place. And now Dennis is showing the pictures of him. His black and white is more of his motif. In some ways, it fits him. I'm sad to say. But yeah, he's got his shoes. He's got his Atelier drip. There's a picture of him with his brother next to a car. And he's saying on his Instagram that the next season, the next part of the season is going to do some fun stuff and successful stuff. So he's optimistic with the coaching change and the new path of the Brooklyn Nets. So yeah, we'll see you tonight, Dennis. And we'll see if there's any extracurricular weirdness. Now, Dennis has been liking Scotty's All-Star post this weekend. So I'm going to tell you right now, there ain't no beef between Barnes and Schroder. These guys like each other. They've been liking each other's posts, and everything since he's left has shown that any kind of like bullshit made up crap by people on Twitter about Scotty hating Fred or Scotty hating Dennis, it's all bullshit. It is all bullshit. Dennis, you're going to see it tonight. They're going to see Dennis and they're going to be cool with him. They're going to dap him. They're going to smile, and they may even hug him. So you get ready for that, Dennis haters, that Scotty actually loves Dennis. Thad Young showing up in a Phoenix Suns jersey. He got signed by the Suns, and he's had his first practice with Kevin Durant and all those guys. It's kind of interesting that the Suns traded Yuta to Memphis, but they still got their former Raptor quota with Thad Young showing up. This is a great opportunity for Thaddeus. I'm like looking at him on the waiver wire in our fantasy league, and I'm like, should I pick up Thad? But I'm like, I don't know if he's going to get to play. The Suns team's so loaded, and it seems like Thaddeus on that team is just going to be kind of like somebody who comes in just in case. Like, I don't know if that's going to be in the rotation. Let's just put it that way. But if he is, that's great. And if he gets far in the playoffs or something, in some ways on the down low, I'm rooting for Phoenix now because I really do like Thad Young. And there's other guys on that Phoenix team that I have a lot of respect and love for, too. Kevin Durant is not somebody I totally hate, but I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. It's still the Suns in some ways. Scotty Barnes has got the picture of him and George St. Pierre on his Instagram stories, and it says that this was crazy. In some ways, it's kind of fun when Scotty gets to meet somebody that puts him in awe, makes him feel like the fan. And I think that happened yesterday when St. Pierre came to our practice. I think that happened. There's a picture of Chris with George, just two Quebec guys hanging out. It's just two great French-Canadian athletes from Canada hanging out. And Chris is saying he's grateful for meeting Georges St. Pierre. That's awesome. Monique has got something about the 1999-2000 Raptors are on NBA 2K23 now. So you can play as that team, I guess. And Mr. New York City saying, smile, things are working out. You may not see it now, but just know God is directing you to a much greater happiness. This is the thing. Marquise, with his injury, is had to keep the faith. And he's very much leaning into his religion to help him get through this tough time. Same thing with Koloko. It's very interesting. Koloko posted something about when you're in a bad place like this, if you don't have God with you, then you're in trouble. But if you do have God, you're okay. You can get through it. So the belief in God for both these guys with their different issues is really getting them through a tough time right now. Marquise Noel and Christian Koloko. Yeah, very interesting. Let's see. There's also Sports Agent Boot Camp, Allie Grayson of Octagon, because Mr. New York City is with Octagon. He's calling her the GOAT is what he calls her. Yeah, Siakam has a bunch of pictures of him and Pacers stuff. What happened? Oh, wait, yeah, he got traded. Oh, crap. Mogi was out in L.A. for All-Star Weekend. He has a picture of him up near the observatory on the hills of Hollywood. He's going to some fancy restaurants. He sees the Elon Musk stupid car. That picture actually looks like that's taken in Toronto, but that may not be. I may be wrong. Yeah, he's just taking pictures of fancy, fast cars. I know Mohamedou really loves vehicles, and he knows a lot about sports cars. So he went out to California, and he took pictures of like Ferraris and Lamborghinis and that stupid Elon Musk mega truck or whatever, the cyber truck, stupid truck. And then, yeah, he's got really good looking chicken cutlet with sprouts sandwich. Man, that looks so good, Mohamedou. Oh my gosh, I want to eat that. Why are you showing that to me on Instagram, man? That's mean. That's mean. Then there's some guy bending his legs back. I don't know who that guy is. There's a really cool old Corvette. Man, this guy really loves cars. He finds them on the street. He's taking pictures of them. He's taking pictures of them. All right, there's your Instagram check. There's just a couple things that these guys were doing on their All-Star weekend on the Instagram stories. You got to go check them out. Let's see. DJ Carton in the North. That's right. I'm excited about this youngster. Let's see if he actually gets to play. I don't feel like Justin Winslow got his chance on his 10-day contract. And what's the 10-day contract's kind of a ripoff when it extends over the All-Star week. Now, the 905 are bound to go on the road. They're going to be out in California tomorrow to play the Golden State Santa Cruz Warriors. So I'm really wondering if there's going to be the other 10-day contract is going to be for one of those guys. They may want to send them out there to play with them. I have no idea. The fact that we haven't heard the second name, we have an open roster spot just right now, is very interesting. It's flexible. So we'll have to see. But yeah, the 905 are going to be splitting away from us for a couple weeks and going on a West Coast road trip. So in some ways, the flexibility of sending guys between 905 and the main Raptors is not going to be there for a little bit because they're going to be out in California, the 905. So they got to make tough decisions on who they're going to send out there with them as far as our two ways and also our guys that are ambiguously 10-day contracts recently. I could see them maybe possibly saying, Justice, we do want you to be the other 10-day. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Bobby, if you listen to me, if y'all are listening to me, like it seems like y'all are sometimes, give Justice another 10-day right now and let him play with the Raptors and just get his dream to get back over and done with. You guys put him on that first 10-day. He did not get in a game during it. Well, we need to get him just to get that redemption arc of I made it back. I did it. In some ways, he may not go much further than that, but let's just let Justice Winslow get that redemption arc of returning to an NBA, full-fledged NBA court for the Toronto Raptors in the next 10 days at least. Give him a chance, and let's see where he goes with it. That's what I have to say right there. Yeah. Let's see. Vince Carter on Run It Back. Caribbean Heritage Night is tonight at the Scotiabank Arena. Just so you know, there will be a good halftime performance by a Caribbean artist. Of course, they had interviews in the last couple of days with Scotty professing his Jamaican roots, talking about how on his dad's side, they're all Jamaican. And of course, a lot of his dad's family lives here in Toronto. That's the other thing that people keep forgetting about Scotty Barnes is in some ways, Toronto is not a foreign place to him. He's been coming to Toronto or has been knowing about Toronto for a long time because of his family that is here. So in some ways, when people talk about, well, this or this, people don't realize how Canadian Scotty is because he has so many Canadian family members. That's the one thing people don't realize about Scott, his Jamaican Canadian family members that live here in Toronto and around Canada. So, yeah, that's a good point to bring up. All right, now, Vince, this is big news. Very, very big news. Vince Carter is really trying to mend the fences with people like me. Yeah, he is. He came on an interview this week, and he said straight up, and he did not wait or think about this. They said, when you go into the Hall of Fame, which he will, it's like people are confused. What does that mean when you're a finalist of the Hall of Fame? Does that mean you're in or what? What the fuck does that mean? You're a finalist. Well, I think that means he's probably going to go in. But if you're a finalist and you don't get in, isn't that humiliating? I don't know. Why would you even just call it a finalist? Why don't you just say you're in? I mean, seriously, some people are confused about this. Well, is he a finalist or is he in? I think he's pretty much in, honestly. But they asked him, when you go into the Hall of Fame, what are you going to be wearing? What team do you go in on? He said, oh, that's no choice. I'm the Raptors. He said it like right away. He's like, oh, there's no doubt where it started. It's the most important place I play. The Raptors. He said, I did important things in New Jersey, but the Raptors is where, yeah, we know this, Vince. And you know what? It means a lot to me that you finally acknowledge this shit. Like, seriously, you turned your back on us so much in the last 20 years that honestly, hearing you say this finally, it kind of helps a little bit. In some ways, listen, this is the other thing about it is we've got guys in the Hall of Fame that are Raptors related. We got Hakeem, we got Tracy, we got Chris Bosh, we got Lenny Wilkins. But all four of those guys went in the Hall on other teams. You know, Bosh went in with the Heat because he won 2 championships with them. In some ways, he would have been the biggest case to go in as a Raptor other than Vince because of his excellence with the Raptors. Tracy was too young and didn't do enough here. So it's understandable that he went in as Orlando Magic because Orlando Magic was where he broke scoring titles and got scoring titles and did crazy, amazing things. Maybe the Rockets even better chance to be in the Hall of Fame as a Houston Rocket than a Toronto Raptor. Lenny Wilkins, I mean, he was here for 2 coaching seasons. He had already been in the Hall of Fame as a coach before he even came to the Raptors. He was a Hall of Fame coach in 98, and he coached us around 2000. So, you know, these guys all came in under the other teams. Lenny, the Sonics, the Seattle Supersonics. That was his team. Well, if this is going to be this way, Vince will be the very first Toronto Raptors inductee going in as a Raptor. Now, in some ways, that is a prestige in itself and something awesome that I think in some ways he could get this. This is fine. He can be the first ever to go into the Hall of Fame as a Raptor. I'm good with this. In fact, this really means a lot with me. But still, Kyle needs to be the first person who gets their jersey retired. And I'll argue that till I'm blue in the face. If it's gone this long already, it should just continue to go this long, and Lowry should be the first. And you know what? Forget that. Let's not even do Lowry first. Let's do DeRozan first. Yeah. Yeah. Let's put number 10 in the rafters before number 7. Yeah. Why not? How about that? That makes it even more prestigious for DeMar DeRozan and what he went through with the Raptors. And let's just put DeMar's number up in the rafters first. We'll say, yeah, we sold your soul for a championship. I'm sorry. we really kind of did a devilish thing. But you know what? We're going to retire your number first. You're going to be the first ever Raptor number retired, DeMar DeRozan. I think that would go a long way. In some ways, Kyle's going to be Kyle, and he's always going to get the accolades. He's going to be fine. But in some ways, to make it special, let's give DeMar that, because in some ways, he was here before Kyle, and he started that whole part of getting us out of the mud before Kyle came. He was in his rookie year with Chris Bosh. Yeah, DeMar DeRozan. So I don't know. This is interesting. DeMar's, holy crap. His show is very interesting. We're going to talk about this. DeMar DeRozan's interview with Draymond this week. Oh, my gosh. All right, see, Superfan Mo saying, I'm glad IQ is committed to the Raptors this early just by this practice interview. Yeah, Emmanuel quickly gave a tell in his practice interview yesterday, and I caught it, and I said, this is what Emmanuel said, is that we're building towards with things for this year and next year. He gave a tell that he is intending to be on the Raptors next year. We know that he is in a contract situation where he will be becoming a restricted free agent this summer. But it sounds like he's bought in. If a guy wasn't bought in on being on our team, he wouldn't be saying something like, I'm expecting to do the work this rest of the season and next year. He did say that yesterday. So I think that quickly has every intention to be a Raptor next year, and that it's all good. We're good. I had a little bit of worry about Emmanuel as far as like whether he was taken to Toronto, whether he enjoys being a Raptor. But I think my worries are over. He actually came in. This is probably very directed by his agency and his people to say, go in there and say that you intend to be here next year and watch what happens. Boom, goes the dynamite. There you go. I mean, in some ways, it's not like they lose leverage because they're restricted free agent. And in some ways, we're going to be able to match whatever other teams may give him anyway. So we'll have to see how this all goes down. But yeah, I like the tell by Emmanuel quickly in his interview yesterday, basically saying that he intends to be a Raptor next season. Is what he said, y'all. You can go back and watch it and see if I'm crazy. Trevor's saying, good morning, Raptors family. Happy game day. Good pickup. DJ Carton. He is a hooper. Yeah, Carton, like a carton of milk. DJ Carton. It's like maybe they could do it with a milk campaign. Just have a milk carton come out and dance with him and be like, drink milk, kids, for your bones. I don't know. They could do that maybe. I don't know. It's kind of cool. And it's interesting to have the justice factor still on our team. Another player with the name Justice in their name. Desi Justice Carton. Desi Justice Carton. Just so y'all know, get that right. It's not Desi Jr. No, it used to be. It's Desi Justice. Justice. Like he's getting justice. That's what he's doing. Yeah. Most saying Raptors should be well rested. Let's go. I hope so. You know, there's probably a little bit of extra traveling all over the place. Of course, Siakam did not go to the All-Star weekend. He was at a very, very sunny island with a very blue sky. And, you know, it's too late for him to get the All-Star arrangements put together just because his home city, his new home team, is putting on the All-Star break. He wasn't even there. He wasn't a part of the festivities at all. They did not showcase Siakam's presence on the Pacers franchise the whole time Indiana was there. In some ways, that's a shame. In some ways, that's a bullshit because honestly, Halliburton is the face of the franchise, but Siakam's second. And in some ways, him not being a part of the whole Indiana All-Star weekend kind of sucks. But also, I know he wanted the break. He probably has some stuff he had to do between Toronto and Indiana, and he had things he had to do. But still, I feel like it's travesty. In some ways, he maybe should have been on Team Indiana in the skills competition. That may have been a really nice subplot line, Scotty versus Pascal. If you'd done that, Adam Silver, you dumbass, and put him in that spot on that Team Indiana in the skills competition. In some ways, I get it. Miles Turner needs to be there. He's been with Indiana for so freaking long. He needs to be on there. Halliburton, I get it. He's an important person. Ben Mathurin, yeah. But didn't he already win something the night before in the Rising Stars? You should have included Siakam. Siakam's an important part of the Pacers franchise, and him not being at All-Star Weekend, which I know that he was probably happy with that. He was probably like, if I'm not an All-Star and I'm not in it, I'm not going to be there. Fuck that shit. It's still kind of an oversight to me in some ways. This is how I feel personally. That's how I feel. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy game day. Yes, Monique. When IQ said for next year, it gave me hope. I was afraid he wasn't too locked in on the team. He said that he went home, spent time with his family, saw his mom and dad and other family members, and got a recharge that way. And then he went down to Miami and he hung out at the University of Miami and did training for a couple of days. Emmanuel very much saying that this All-Star break was very useful for getting rest, for working out, and for seeing family. And I think that he seemed like he was more rejuvenated. He had a new twist on his hair, and he kind of seemed like he was rejuvenated and very refreshed and ready to tackle the rest of the season. That was the energy I was reading from quickly. It seemed like he made the best of his All-Star weekend. Let's just put it that way. He made the best of his All-Star weekend. Fiercely saying Dennis is unproblematic. I see he likes almost all posts from his former teammates, Pascal, Scotty, etc. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's a charade. I don't think that that's just a show. I think that that's real. I think that he actually does really care about all of his teammates and gets to know them. I think that he did make some special bonds with some of the Raptors while he was here. Seriously. I mean, I think Dennis is an ultimate teammate. I seen how he was with Germany last summer. This guy cares so much. He will fight his teammates. He will tell his coach, get your hands off of me. I'm just telling you, man, this dude's a good dude. I think that he's totally misrepresented. And in the past, I've used this analogy. It's like how everybody pre-villainizes snakes. This snake does a very important things in the natural world as far as eating rodents. The snake can be a very useful animal, but it has a preceding reputation that comes before it that everybody's kind of, ugh. I think that's what happens with Dennis. I'm not saying he's a snake. I'm just saying he has an unfair bias against him like a snake does in the world. Everybody's like, oh, they're creepy and sneaky. I'm not saying that's what Dennis is, but I'm saying the bias towards Dennis is unfair, just like the bias towards a snake. Does that make sense? I don't know. That's how I feel about it. I feel like he's unjustly sewered by people. Really, really do feel like that. I think that's clear by this time on this channel. I think people have realized this. That I think it's unjust how they treat him. All right, let's keep going. Fiercely saying, heading to the spa, fam. Self-care day for me. We'll watch the stream later while having my hair retwisted. Those who go to Scotiabank later, enjoy the game. Yeah, get down there and get loud. Let's cheer our team on against the Atlantic Division opponent, Brooklyn Nets. Let's get closer to them. I do not want to be the last team in the Atlantic Division at the end of the season. So let's make the climb over the 2.5 games we're behind them. Even though we're near the bottom of the standings, we can have mini goals. We can say, let's try and pass Brooklyn by the end of the year. We can say, let's get in that one of those play-in spots. These are mini goals that are achievable by the end of the season. And in some ways, if we can go do these things, this would be really good. Really, really, really good. So I'm all about it. Have a great spa day, Fiercey, and I'll catch up with you later. How about that? Most saying, I still watch Ellen's videos. Do you, Lex? Yeah, I watched the Valentine's Day date that they went on recently. Very nice. In some ways, I'm reading Ellen's energy. She's very fragile right now. I can tell this shakeup with the trade has been jarring for her and her family. And I feel bad for the Schroders. In some ways, like I said, I feel like they really did like being in Toronto. And in some ways, this is shakeup and these kind of changes are never easy for a young family with 3 small children. It's never easy. Trevor's saying, Darko said, I stand on my word about Scotty becoming an all-star. Not only one time, down 10 times. And yes, other guys' opportunity to get there too. Yeah, this is awesome. Darko's a dude. And Scotty reaffirmed this this weekend in a couple places. Somebody brought up Darko in an interview at All-Star, and he said, that's my guy. I love him. He's looking out for me. He's looking up for me, is what he was saying. So the relationship between Darko and Scotty is awesome because Darko has a vision for Scotty, and it aligns with Scotty's vision, and that's what they're both working towards, is developing Scotty on the highest level in the NBA to become one of the top 10, if not top 5 players in the whole entire league. I'm telling you, he's got the stuff. And if he's got the gumption, he's got the know-how, he's got the right guidance, he's got the right organization, he will get there. He will get there. And the trust between Darko and Scotty is very, very strong. I love seeing Scotty in the media scrums at All-Star and then Masai and Bobby strolling up to say, hey, how's it going, All-Star? Scotty also letting it be known that All-Star weekend, he did not spend a whole lot of time with his All-Star game teammates. He talked to them a little bit in the back in the locker room, a little bit of hobnobbing here and there, jokes around. But most of the weekend was spent with his family and friends, his mother being at the event with other family members, and also some of his very close friends like Nardo and Patrick were there. So Scotty really enjoying the time with family and friends at All-Star. And I don't get the vibes that he's like, listen, in some ways we've got different kinds of superstars. Some of them want to be like Vince and LeBron and have a whole bunch of superstar buddies and a clique of friends. Some people, they come in with their friends already, like Scotty, like Jalen and Cade and Dayron. These guys are already his friends. And in some ways, he's not looking to make new friends. In fact, more of the players in the league that he goes up against that are big names are more likely to be head to head, like versus people like Jason Tatum, LeBron, all those kind of guys. In some ways, it's not like he's going to get cozy, buddy, best friends with any of these motherfuckers. It's about beating their ass on the court. And if he has too many friends on the court, well, that killer instinct to want to beat these people may not be there. Ask Vince Carter. So that's what I'm saying is that Scotty, in some ways, he's cool with everybody. He's friendly with everybody, but he also wants to keep that competitive, like, I'm going to play you on the court, and I don't know if it necessarily I want to be friends with you, is what it feels like is kind of how he handles things. He's very fun-loving, though. Very, very fun-loving, yeah. Let's see. Carl Otts is here. Good morning, freaks. Good morning to you, Carl. I hope you're doing really well. I hope the kids are doing great. Atlanta weather's good, and everything's good and happy in Carl Ott's world. I love you, my brother. I miss you. And I'm so excited about the future coming up because there's going to be all kinds of fun stuff. And I hope that you do come up during the summer and help us out with some of the things we've got coming up. It'd be a lot of fun to do some projects with you, my man, and get outside and just do some cool things. And definitely bring your kids, too, because I'd love to work with Ansley and Harrison also. I love you, Carl. I miss you, man. And all the best to you, my guy. Cowboys saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Let's go, Raptors. I believe Scotty will be an all-star every year going forward. I hope so. That's kind of what Darko was saying. It's like the first of many. And I think this is true. I think that he belongs there. I think there's no denying. It's not like he's a fringe all-star. Sometimes there's guys that get all-stars and it's kind of a fluke, Jared Allen. And then you're like, oh, yeah, this guy's not an all-star. Why do you think he's supposed to keep coming here, Cleveland? You fucking dumbasses. You think that Jared Allen's an all-star? He needs to keep coming all the time? No, he's not. But Scotty Barnes is. And this is going to happen. Now, Scotty's really smart about this. What he said was, I have to continue to earn it every year. If I want to come back to it, I've had the taste of it this year. I've got to put up the numbers and play really well every single year so that I get invited and I get back to it. So in some ways, that's the way he's looking at it, exactly the right way. That this is not granted to him. It's not going to be like, okay, maybe it is to LeBron, but it doesn't have to be to Scotty. Scotty is going to earn his all-star every single year. And he's ready to take on that challenge every single year to put the stats up and play the certain way to improve better and better. The goals may be down the road. I'm going to start in the all-star game. Yeah, I believe he will be starting the all-star game at some point. Yeah, he will. So, yeah, I agree with you, Cowboy. This is going to be Scotty all-star for years to come. I really do believe that. Now, people are going to be like, nah, why Toronto sucks? Well, we got to win. That's the other thing Scott said, is for him to get these kind of things to happen. Well, we need to win better. He's lucky in some ways that he got on the all-star this year with our record right now. So he understands with winning and success, all the accolades and those kind of things will come. So in some ways, it's not about him. He understands that the team is a part of it, whether his standing of what he's going to get with accolades happens. So in a lot of ways, he's orienting himself to help the team and be the team player and not just like some selfish superstar individualistic kind of player. And a lot of NBA teams in the league right now, that he's got to bring everybody up for him to come up too. He understands that. And a lot of young players aren't smart enough to understand that. They're dumb and they just do their own thing. And they realize they don't get anywhere spinning their tires. Well, Scotty understands he's got to carry his team to a degree. He's got to lift everybody up with him. And they'll all look good together. And then, boom, the accolades, it all works out for him in that kind of way. Yeah. Nako's here. Good to see Gerald. Good to see you, my friend, Gerald Mayhew. I miss you, my man. If you guys see the name Gerald Mayhew at any Toronto comedy clubs, go see him. He's a funny stand-up. If OG wasn't on the Knicks, Mikhail should go to the Knicks. Dayron was part of that high school team with Scotty and Cade. Yeah, that's why he's friends with Sharp, is because they're old high school buddies. And so we'll see Scotty palling around with him tonight at the game. Watch. You'll see him very happy to see Dayron. Yeah, if OG wasn't on the Knicks, that is the person who's kind of holding Mikal Bridges' spot if he was going to go to the Knicks. In some ways, I would say that if the Knicks really want to complete their Villanova Wildcat set, they're going to have to give up OG. You trade OG to the Nets to get Mikal Bridges. That seems like a pretty fair trade mostly. There may be a couple players coming from the Nets otherwise. But yeah, I mean, if they really want to be completionist and get their set of Villanova Wildcats, this may be the closest thing they got to do. Although everybody loves OG in New York already. In some ways, he's already a legend. But also, they're dealing with his injury right now. And OG doing an interview this week, and he's kind of being OG. Like we know, OG for years. He's just kind of being like, yeah, if I show up, I'll hopefully be okay and I can come back. Everybody thinks he's not thrilled. Well, that's just how OG is, New York fans. He's just a really chill dude. And he has a quirky personality and a very interesting delivery. Some people are saying that the way he talks is very UK. That some of the wording and some of the realism that he has when he talks is part of what it is. So yeah, some people don't feel like he's exciting or excited. Yeah, that's true. He isn't. He's very kind of a certain way, but he's excited on the court when he kicks somebody's ass or shuts them down. That's all you should be worried about, New York Knicks fans. Is him, OG Plumbing Company, coming to shut down people off the court. If he's a little weird, if he says weird stuff, he's a little oddball. Yeah. That's just how he is. Now, should we turn around and start making allegations about that guy? No, because we love OG and we still feel like the allegation stuff is childish, stupid, immature, and wrong for people to do. But in some ways, some people will say, OG's a weird one, man. He's a weird one. And y'all just got to deal with him. He's awesome. And let him come back when he's ready. G saying Golden State Warriors can teach about killer instincts on the court, octagon, and how to be true to themselves off the court. You're saying George St. Pierre. It says Golden State Warriors, G. George St. Pierre can teach about killer instincts on the court, octagon. Now you say octagon, I think Marquise Noel's management and how to be true to themselves off the court. George St. Pierre is the epitome of killer instinct. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm not as familiar with MMA. I don't watch it, but I do know who he is. And I know that he's a legend. And I know that he did some amazing things in his career. Very storied, celebrated MMA fighter in the history of MMA, Georges St. Pierre. So, yeah, okay. That was a confusing comment, G, if not for the GSW. But I figured it out. Cowboys saying, I like this carton pickup. You like this carton pickup? The milkman came and delivered the carton. DJ Carton. Yeah, let's see if he plays tonight. Name is saying, sorry, I booed you and threw tomatoes for technical difficulties yesterday, Lex. It was out of line. Listen, Nameless is okay. I appreciate your apology. It was not necessary. In some ways, it's comedic that you were throwing tomatoes at me for screwing up my microphone yesterday. It's all good. Listen, I'm not above reproach. I'm not trying to be perfect. In fact, I embrace imperfectism because I feel like the rest of the world, imperfectism, just that word in itself is the epitome of that. I embrace it because I feel like everybody in some ways so everything has to be perfect. Everything is, and a lot of that's driven by corporate bullshit, honestly. Excellence in life and all this kind of shit is driven by fuckers that just want to use you as a wage slave to drive their economic output up. In some ways, that's what that is. In some ways, you should just be you. If you screw up or you don't do something exactly right, so what? So what? Why is this all this pressure on this kind of shit? It's kind of how I look at it. In some ways, I don't care. If I'm not perfect, well, I'll embrace it. And in some ways, I'm way happier in life than people that can't. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I made up a word there that was not a real word. And that was kind of funny just now. All right, let's see. G saying Otto didn't join the Utah team. They may be working on a buyout. Yeah, I could see that. It's weird. He probably was already bought out on the down low, and he's just not picked up by somebody. That's interesting. That is interesting news. Gee, I didn't know that Otto didn't take to the Jazz in that deal. It could very well be a buyout and a money dump. And there's no place for him. All right, let's see. Firebolt's here, checking in from the East Coast, the Maritimes of Canada. Let's see what Carla's saying this morning. Good morning, Lex and the Raptor Freak family. Man, I'm so ready for Raptors basketball to be back tonight. Hopefully, the guys come back refreshed and ready to compete. I hear you. I love your wish, and I hope so too. We know that this being off on a layoff and coming back, sometimes you come back flat. Well, that's for every NBA team. It's not just us that are going to have to deal with coming back from the All-Star break. So who knows? Maybe we're better prepared. I know the guys have been back in Toronto since Tuesday. Scotty went to Florida after the All-Star game and hung out with his mom for a day in Florida and his family. And then they came back on Tuesday and they had orientation meeting on Tuesday, but a full practice yesterday. So hopefully that's enough to get everybody on the same page and ready. You know, these guys, when they take the All-Star break, it's not like they just completely just be losers and just lay around and do nothing. No, they're working out. This is part of the edge of being an NBA player. It's like in some ways that's the craziness. It's like they never want to self-doubt themselves as I didn't do enough. I should have worked out more. So they get really like a lot of guilt if they don't work out, if they don't do things. So, like, you can see Siakam at a beautiful island with the most amazing beach, but he's also down there working his ass off in the gym at some point during the day. And that's the same way with all these guys. They take the break, but don't get it twisted. They're not taking a break from their workouts and keeping on the high level as NBA athletes in tip top shape. It's very, very important. Trae Young saying this about the All-Star game this weekend, that part of the problem with why the All-Star game is broken is because the players really care about their teams and they don't want to get hurt and mess up their seasons. That part of the reason why the players don't play at a very high level or trying is because they're worried about hurting their teams. That the Atlanta Hawks are so important to him and being healthy to play for them that he would, God forbid, if he went out the All-Star game and he got hurt for the rest of the season. So he's saying that part of the reason why the players are the way they are in the All-Star game is really for the team's insurance, that they will be available to play for their team for the rest of the year. I can get that logic, and that kind of makes sense. In some ways, if they're tired too from the season, they just kind of want to rest and they don't want to get hurt. Of course, they're going to half-ass things. But it's interesting. Angry Old Hoops fan put up the whole entire 1987 NBA All-Star game with Larry Bird, Kareem, Dr. J, Magic, Michael, all those guys. And there is a very stark difference in the compete level in that game compared to the game this year in the All-Star game. It is very, very stark because those old guys actually played and got up and down the court and ran a lot and played defense and busted their ass in the All-Star game. In fact, there was physicality where people were hitting each other and could have hurt each other. So it's a very different age and era. In some ways, maybe the money is indicative of why this is like this, because you invest 20 million in a guy and they can't play all of a sudden. Maybe back in the day, it's like, yeah, if they get hurt, they get hurt. I don't know. It's an interesting thing, and it is a part of the reason why the All-Star game's messed up. The players are worried about getting hurt and screwing over their franchises because of that. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. Let's see. Monique is saying Scotty talking about Caribbean background yesterday. Yeah, that was very cool. In some ways, I wonder, like, I know they're doing Caribbean Heritage Night tonight, so it makes sense to put out publicity about it. But we just talked about this on Tuesday. It's really weird how we coincide with a lot of stuff that's going on with things. One of the questions on Tuesday Trivia was, what country, island country, is Scotty's family from? Jamaica. Boom. And then they talk about it. He comes out with a little clip the next day talking about his Jamaican roots. He was really, you can tell Scotty really embraces and is proud of his Jamaican heritage. And that's awesome for sure. And you're in the right city for this, Scott. I mean, Jamaican culture in Toronto, it just permeates Toronto. There's so many amazing Jamaican people that live here in the city of Toronto that are awesome. I know a bunch of them. They're amazing people. A lot of people I knew in Kensington were Jamaican. So, yeah, it's a really, really cool thing. And I'm glad they're celebrating it tonight. They're going to have fire music at halftime. And the whole motif of the night is going to be fantastic. When they do Caribbean Heritage Night, it's always good. It's always good. It's always good. David's going, meh, meh, meh. David. All right, let's see. Trevor's saying, I love DeMar. Sit down dinner with Green, talking about mental health. Very powerful. All right, I did want to talk about this. I would have talked about it yesterday if YouTube hadn't kicked me off after 15 minutes of a stream. I apologize for that. Sometimes the internet is not right, or the YouTube gets all weird and squirrely and it boots me. And if that happens, well, I'm just cut off. I may have been something I said. I don't know. Maybe there's powers that be are watching me and they're like, pull the plug, pull the plug, pull the plug. He's saying too much. I don't know. But anyway, listen, this was a very interesting 45-minute show. Dinners with DeMar. And the first episode was with Draymond Green. Now, preface this by saying this was filmed in the summer of 2022. This may have been filmed just shortly before Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole at practice. So this episode was all filmed before the saga of Draymond in the last 2 years. Just so y'all know, this is something DeMar's been working on for a while, and he's got enough of these interviews collected so that he can put them out in order. Dame Lillard's going to be one of them, which is very interesting. It's almost like he's getting all these guys that are kind of very interesting in the limelight of the NBA this past year for various kind of toxic reasons. Now, it's weird. I don't know if DeMar and the guys who produced his show, Dinners with DeMar, changed the edit or the cut of the final episode that aired this week, because it seemed like this episode wasn't really guest starring Draymond Green. It seemed like this episode was Draymond Green's the host and DeMar DeRozan was the actual interviewee. I would say 90% of the episode is DeMar talking about his own mental health stuff. It's amazing. It's beautiful. DeMar is so open and honest. He's so intelligent and connected and self-aware that it's just amazing. Like he really is a good role model. He really is a good advocate for this subject, and him expressing his journey and the things he went through. In fact, he was way more open about things than ever in this interview. I highly recommend it. He talks about when we traded him, you see the pain in his eyes so bad. It really is one of the worst and most damaging things that ever happened to him in his life. And we're talking about a guy who had friends that were gunned down when he's younger in gang wars. We're talking about a guy who's had death around his family. But in some ways, the death of being a Toronto Raptor is one of the biggest hurts in his life. I can tell. I mean, when he says it in the clip, I'm like, my heart's breaking all over again about him and what happened with us. Man, he's just such a real one. I love DeMar so much. In some ways, it really did become like Draymond's interviewing DeMar about his mental health stuff. But Draymond turned around and at some point he's saying, I should probably go talk to somebody. And DeMar's like, I highly recommend it. You should go talk to someone, Draymond. He's like, nah, but I don't feel like I should. Maybe I always want to, but then I back out. And it's because I'm worried about losing who I am on the NBA court if I go and get fixed by a therapist, is what he's saying. He's like worried about being less violent or wild on the court. And like, this is the whole reason why you need to go, Draymond, honestly. And like in the whole idea of this, like over the last 2 years, and now you've had to go because the NBA told you had to go. But kudos to DeMar for like 2 years ago trying to talk Draymond into therapy like 2 years ago. But listen, the problem with Draymond is he's a narcissist. He has egomaniac, and in some ways, he is not self-aware like DeMar DeRozan is. A lot of what he said, and I can tell bullshit artists, he was full of shit in that interview. He's smiling. He's kind of half-assed. He's very arrogant during the whole interview. He's above reproach. Yeah, these are the signs that he just doesn't get it, and especially didn't get it then. Like that interview from the end of Draymond is worthless because he's kind of just full of shit, that whole interview. Like whatever he's saying, just watch him and listen to him and see if your bullshit meter goes off. Seriously. That's the one thing about this. This dude does not care about not hurting people. In fact, he embraces it and he doesn't want to go to therapy in case he loses that. That's just the damn truth about him. Well, I wonder if it's a little bit different since he got in trouble this year and had to be suspended indefinitely and go through what he had to go through with all those hoops. I don't know. In some ways, I think it's so disingenuous, the relationship between the NBA and Draymond Green, that it's fucked up. It's a fucked up, toxic, weird thing. And the sad thing is we're all a part of it because he's such a public eye kind of person in the NBA that we can't help but be a part of a toxic relationship with the NBA that Draymond Green is in. And in some ways, that's sad and gross. In some ways, it teaches people the wrong shit. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, I'm impressed with DeMar DeRozan for his show. I think his show's amazing. I'm looking forward to more episodes. But Draymond Green, I didn't change my opinion about him from that episode. In fact, it just made me reinforce that he is full of shit. He is full of shit. You can watch it, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You watch it, yeah. But kudos to you, DeMar, putting that conversation out there more, being a great role model for it, and being very, very open and honest about your struggles and your journey with this. Man, he's so free and happy at this point. It's like really has gotten to the point where DeMar's at a point where he can't be fucked with. I can really tell that he's figured it out to a point where it's like, look, I don't care what happens. I can deal with it. I can deal with it. And in some ways, that's a good place to be in your life when you're unfuckwithable. And, in some ways, that's where DeMar is. Tom Duke has retracted his message, but at least Tom is here. We love you, Tommy. Cool Cat saying, "Well, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Game day. Will we push for a play-in? I think we will. That's what the words that coming out of the practice interviews yesterday is. It's all about winning and winning. We need to win. We want to win more. We need to practice winning. We need to make a culture of winning. We need to, if we're not exactly winning right now, continue to work towards winning. It's not about losing. It's not about tanking. If we do lose, well, we lose, and our record will reflect it. But the practice and activity of pushing towards winning and trying to make winning happen in Toronto is that thing. We just got to say winning. We'll winning. Yeah, Masai, Bobby, Scotty, Darko, they're all saying winning. And that's what we're doing, Cool Cat. It's all about winning. Yeah, I'm going to say that word. I got to get my quotas in. In some ways, it's a competition, just like the dunk competition we have on this channel. Who can say winning more? The Raptors freak, Scotty, Masai, Darko, we're all in competition. And there's somebody's got a spreadsheet who's keeping track of how many times everybody says winning. Win. I think I just like jumped up. All right, let's see. Dana saying, good morning, everyone. Happy game day to you, Canadian Dana. Always good to see you. Tom Duke retracted. David's going, meh. What's the meh about, David? Elaborate. I do not speak caveman. Let's see. Evelyn's saying, good morning, fam. Tom Duke. Woo! Happy to see you, Tom Ducarelli. The Dukester. Ducarelli. Randolph's here. Good blessings on this most informative Raptor Freaks most informative gang. And are we yet alive for this game day? Let's stand together in solidarity for our team. You go, Randolph Phillips. I'm going to give you a dunk. I love it. Man, you know what? In some ways, this is a feeling we haven't had for about a week. Game day. We love that anticipation. We love the excitement. We love the idea that later on today, we get to watch the Toronto Raptors play in an NBA game. You know, that's what a fan is like. They get excited when their team's playing on game day. It doesn't matter if their record is bad. It doesn't matter who it is. The true ones are really do still get that excitement on a day like today. They haven't had it in a little bit. Think about Monique's countdown in the offseason to NBA opening day. When we get real close to the beginning of training camp and then preseason games, the excitement is there. I'm feeling it today too. Let's play the Nets tonight. That's what I'm all about. Yeah, Tom Dookie saying, good morning. Let's fucking go, Raptors. That's right, Tom. Let's go. Chris is saying, I hope Koloko comes through and returns to the team. I do too, man. I don't know if they got to get blood thinners. I don't know how they deal with this. I don't know if there's a kind of way where, in some ways, the thing is, if this is active in somebody's body, it's like, I don't know if you can get treatment to change it over time. I think it's just something that you just have. And that's part of the problem here. I mean, if you think about it, if Chris Bosh could have gotten a treatment for his clots and could have continued his career, he would have. And he has money, so he could have paid for it. It's just like, you get the best HIV treatment for Magic. Well, you can get the best clot treatment for Chris Bosh, but there's nothing. I guess it doesn't exist. And that's the thing that scares me for Koloko. He's so young. And to have this kind of thing where it may be just like for the rest of your life, you're going to have to deal with this. That's no good. It sucks. It's so tragic in so many ways. But he's going forward with his head held high. And I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for Christian Koloko. I just hope that it's good and positive and happy. In some ways, man, you have our hearts and our sympathies, Christian, whatever happens to you guys. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. David saying Elon's the GOAT. What? That guy knows how to ruin companies just like Trump. That man has made Twitter go in the dumpster fire. And in some ways, like Tesla's plummeting too. I don't know, Dave, if you're being sarcastic or not, David. I don't know. Let's see. Seymour saying, what pop, fams? Morning from the Mountain Time region. What's up, Sheriff? Holding it down in the Mountain Time, the mountainous regions of Alberta. Yes. Good to see you, Seymour. Chris is saying that Elon truck looks terrible. Surprising as the Tesla cars are styled rather well. Yeah, I don't understand that truck. It's weird, man. It is weird. I don't know. In some ways, it's a joke. In some ways, the Cybertruck. I mean, in some ways, I don't know. Will it go the way of the Pinto or the Ford Pacer or something like that? Will it be like a joke car in the long run of the history of cars? And everybody will make fun of it at some point. I'll bet. Maybe at some point. Yeah. David saying, haha, the Cybertruck is a train wreck. I heard that it was supposed to be not dentable, and then they hit it and it broke. It's like Elon said, so you cannot break the window, and he hit it and it broke. Listen, this is something. All right, we talk about self-driving cars. This is the weird thing. Like, everything can be hacked. I would not trust a self-driving car. Seriously. And then if you're adding an AI, seriously, this could become a bad sci-fi movie. Seriously. Like, in some ways, I'm such a good driver. I love driving. I love driving cars. I don't think I'd ever trust a self-driving car. Like, in some ways, I get it. If somebody's not a good driver, they have to do things like drink coffee or read the paper on the way to work or whatever they want to do that. Okay, you go ahead and take that risk with your life. Because in some ways, that technology is still working out the kinks. It's the Wild West. And what's going to happen when AI is kind of like making decisions or doing things all of a sudden around things, and there's some sort of weird wackiness? Maybe there's some criminal act, but it's really hard to kind of determine who did it. I know that sounds like a weird Asimov novel, but don't fucking get it twisted. This shit could happen, seriously. And it may not be AI. It could be nefarious forces out there that are hacking things and getting in there and changing things. They can hack your smart house. They can hack your self-driving car. That's why I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm gonna drive my own car. Thank you very much. It's kind of how where I'm at. Yeah. Monique is saying February 21st, 1999, Toronto Raptors versus Vancouver Grizzlies yesterday. Yeah, I was at that game, Mo. That was the first Raptors game I worked in the Air Canada Center. I had worked for well, let me think. I'd worked at the Maple Leaf Gardens for a game before that, just for training. So I had actually worked for them, but this was the first time I ever worked in. Wait, no, I worked at the Rolling Stones concert too before this game. But this is like one of the first times I ever worked in that arena. Was that Raptors Grizzlies Naismith Cup 25 years ago yesterday, when the Raptors played their very first ever game in their arena that they play in today, the Scotiabank Arena, otherwise known as Air Canada Center. 25-year birthday this week. Happy birthday, Air Canada Center, to you. Yeah. Yeah. David's saying 31 watching, 4 likes. That ain't that hard to like. This is smash the like button. Listen, they're watching me. They just don't know if they like it. That's fine. I don't need their approval. I love y'all. Thank you for the likes, but hey, I'm just doing this. In some ways, if there was 1 like, I'd still do it. In some ways, I'm not about my stats. That's why I'm the ultimate team player. That's right. David's saying there are more regulars in here than likes. Laugh out loud. It's all good, David. Maybe they'll drop some. Oh, look, it just jumped up a little bit just now. Thank you, David. All right, you made note of it, and now it's starting to go up. Cool guy saying Scotty also has a lot of Canadian friends that he went to school with. Yeah, including whatchamacallit for Orlando Magic, Caleb Houston of Mississauga. They talked about this. It's like, Scotty, you talk like a Toronto man. He's like, well, I've always talked like this. And it's like, I talked like this down in Florida before I even came to Toronto. He's like, how did you do that? He's like, well, I have Canadian friends. I learned Toronto stuff from them. Oh, okay. Like, Scotty knows about Degrassi. We were talking about Degrassi on his stream one day. It's like, Scotty, did you watch Degrassi? He's like, yeah, I did. I liked Degrassi. I did watch Degrassi. That's very Canadian right there. Yeah. Chris is saying, very interesting about Vince. His best days were in Toronto, the happiest anyway. If he makes that choice, he's forgiven by me. I have a big heart, laugh out loud. You go, Chris. In some ways, look, it's tough. The way he said it really did kind of get me a little bit. Like, because like he didn't even think about it. He didn't even think about it. In some ways, it's like, look, Nets fans are going to be pissed about this. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll go with this. Like, seriously, listen, I don't know. In some ways, I'm still not totally okay with the jersey retire, but I am okay with the statue. I'm very much on record for that. Put a statue of Vince out in Maple Leaf Square and put him right over near the practice court, kind of over towards that other end on the other side of those cones. Put him right in the middle of that courtyard. Make it one of his signature dunks from that crazy dunk competition. That's the thing y'all should do, MLSE, for Vince Carter. You should make a statue outside, just like for Kobe, just like for Michael Jordan, except make it a Vince dunk. And it'll commemorate that moment and his effect of the Air Canada effect. And in some ways, it doesn't have anything to do with the team. It just has to do with that moment. And that's why I think that's the right way to honor him, is with the statue. I think the jerseys go to loyal guys who stuck through it with us. And that's a different category than what you do with Vince. And same, like I said, the same thing for Kawhi. Make a Kawhi shot statue. It's a moment. These are not longevity things with these guys. These are not like careers that with the Raptors that need to be celebrated, like Pascal Siakam, like a Kyle Lowry, like a DeMar DeRozan, like a Fred VanVleet. That's the difference. These guys are guys who had moments for the Raptors, and moments should be captured in statues. That's what I'm saying right there. Let's see. Name is saying David Saberno. David Saberno, come talk to me. I have an offer for you. You cannot refuse. Yeah. Tom Duke saying, good morning. I messed up the food earlier. Sorry. That is such a weird situation, Chris. Here is the food, Lex. All raw and ready for the skillet. Cowboy in the skillet. Tom Duke came back and killed it. He brought that emoticon food we all missed. And now that Tommy's back, we're just so thrilled about that Tom Duke and Cowboy and Skillet are back again. Number 1 on the country charts. All right, there's Cowboy in the Skillet with the grill, and he's got the moo, the chick, and the mushrooms. The mushrooms. I don't even remember what these guys wanted. That was so long ago. Cutler wants the cutlet of chicken. Obviously, Cutler wants the cutlet of chicken. Twardowski is not saying any food. Oh, steak and mushrooms. Never mind. He said steak and mushroom. And this guy wanted pot roast. Okay, yeah, these are pretty run the mill. This guy, like, really, Scott Wall, you just want pot roast? Come on, man. This dude, oh man, you can tell he's a family guy. Yeah, yeah. Nameless getting dapped, dap. And Tom Duke saying, "Nameless, you rule, mi amigo, my buddy." Yeah, Tommy. Yeah, Tom Ducarelli. Tom Ducarelli. And Tom saying, you rule too at everybody. Tommy, you seriously do rule. And we have missed your presence, honestly. I know I have for sure. And I know they have too. And it's just nice to see you reemerge recently. Hey, we'll get you as much as we can, Tom. And no, it doesn't have to be all the time like it used to be, and all the other things. Just whatever we get, we love you, Tom, and we just want you around as much as we can. But we'll take what we can get. Kareem saying, can't wait to start this historical 27-0 run to close out the end of the season. Let's see if we do that. What will we be at? We'll be at 46 wins, right? No, that's not right. It's 20 minus 1. No, 27 plus 19. 46. 46 wins? Holy crap. If we did that, we'd be above 500, Kareem. I'm all about that. Let's see. Can we lose? We can lose 6-7 games and still be 500 this year. That's interesting. All right, Kareem. I like what you're saying. Dap to that. David saying, and Lex. Dap. Yeah, RFF. That's right, baby. Names is saying, so Sabarino and Ducarelli in the chat. We've got the Raptors Freak Mafia family in the house. Ducarelli and Sabarino. That's really good. Seymour saying, let's go, Kareem. It can be done. Yeah, all right. Let's give Kareem a dunk. Let's give Tom Duke a dunk. I'm going to give a bunch of y'all dunks real quick right now. Tommy's getting one. Tom Duke at 10 now already. He's just came back. He's already got 10 dunks this year. All right, I'm going to give Cowboy a dunk. I'm going to give Cowboy a dunk. I'm going to give David a dunk. And I'm also going to give Nameless a dunk. Yeah, just for the fun RFF Mafia crap that he just said. That's hilarious. All right, there's Nameless. Boom. All right, there we go. Yeah. All right. Keep on going. Keep on trucking. Yeah. Let's fucking go, Raptors. That's right. Yeah. David's got the Angels. He's the Angel Mafia. Cool Cat saying we have to realize maturation is also a factor with Vince Carter. This is a good point. I have heard both sides of the issues, and I'm good with Vince. DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry are my current Raptors legends. Yeah, I mean, I know Vince is a nice guy. I know he means well. In some ways, he was in a maelstrom of confusion and kind of just bad, dumb shit happening around the Raptors at the time. A lot of people want to just blame Rob Babcock, and it's his fault. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. He is a really bad GM, and like he really put us in a bad place. But still, man, like in some ways, I always say this: just because other people are shitty around you doesn't mean that it has to be a reflection of you. You could be on the shittiest team in the NBA, but if you hold your head up high and do everything you're supposed to do, you look like a fucking saint. So that's the whole thing. He didn't have to make himself look bad. The whole situation looked bad around him. Well, he could have been above it. And maybe it was partly maturation. that he wasn't mature enough to understand that in the situation to be above it. There's a lot of things he could have done differently in his career, I'm sure. He would have had a totally different career in some cases if he had done some things differently. Trust me. It's funny. Hawks fans are upset. They think he should have said Atlanta, that he was going into the Hall under Atlanta Hawks jersey. They really took to him during his time with the Atlanta Hawks. And in some ways, I could see why they're upset with him for saying Toronto. That's an interesting part of it, too. David's saying, is Milbester here yet, or do we have to wait for the cutoff? I would guess he's going to be here in about half an hour, around 11 o'clock. That's usually when he shows up, David. That's pretty funny. Seymour's saying, all these clowns going in and out, we should have kept Doughton. Yeah, I don't know about that, Seymour. I mean, in some ways, we try guys out. And in some ways, if we let him go already, well, he's had his tryout. If Doughton was so valuable to us, we have the opportunity to get him right now. We could get a 10-day contract on him from the Blue Coats and just take him right now. If Bobby and Masai thought that was the right move, they would do it. But I think we've already looked at Jeff Doughton and his fit with our organization. And we've said hasta la vista. And that's just how it is. In some ways, it's like, what, we're going to go back and revisit this where we already know what we kind of see when he's here? No, go find another person. In some ways, the difference here is DJ Carton is 23 and Jeffrey Doughton is 27. So there's a little bit of there. Yeah, see, David's saying too old. I don't even think that it's a valid excuse for Jeffrey. But I think the excuse is we've seen him. He's been here, been there, done that. And in some ways, you don't want to go back in the past. We're looking towards the future. We just sloughed off a lot of our past. And bringing Jeffrey Doughton, a known quantity on our team, back, what's the point? What's the point? Try new guys. Try new ones. Maybe there's a magical synergy between them and Scott Wayne Barnes. That's what we got to look at. Maybe DJ Carton and Scotty Barnes have a very cool unlock thing that happens all of a sudden. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right there. Name is saying Tommaso Ducarelli. I thought you were sleeping with the fishes. This nameless motif of mafia is hilarious to me, honestly. Hilarious. Let's see. Chris is saying IQ will stay as he knows he is the point guard of the Raptors' future. I like it. He's got the skills to be one. As for Doughton, Scotty Barnes is still forging ahead as a backup part-time point guard. Yeah, but Carton's insurance. Don't get it twisted. They looked at this roster and they looked at kind of the holes in the last couple games before the All-Star game. And they said, wow, maybe point guard is a little weak right now. If Emmanuel gets hurt and Scotty is our only point guard on our roster, that's really bad. In some ways, I kind of want them to go get another point guard for the other 10-day right now, just to be very safe. And it doesn't hurt to have 4-person depth at every position. Let's just put it that way. If you really can maximize and build your roster right, you should have depth at all 5 positions, at least 4 deep. And that's dipping into your two-ways and, G League stuff. But you should still have 4 centers. I feel like I've been happy with just getting 3 at this point. But in some ways, 4 is a good number. 4 point guards, 4 centers, 3 point guards, 3 centers. Having those numbers are important. And in some ways, we've short-stacked those positions on our team in recent years for the middle and the long arm monsters of the 6'8" guys. So I'd like to shift back to having a little bit more of those other things in some ways. I really like the things that Emmanuel was saying yesterday, Chris, that in some ways he said exactly some of the stuff I've been saying here. He has to find the right balance between passing and shooting, that the coaching staff is telling him to shoot more, that Darko himself said in his interview, I want Emmanuel to shoot more. So expect him to shoot more. And also Darko got real giddy when they brought up Emmanuel's potential and what he could get out of him, developing him further and getting him more. He's, we're just not even scratching the surface, is what Darko said, as far as what he can do to try and mold Emmanuel quickly into a very, very good offensive scoring guard that balances finding his teammates and getting them involved too. So, yeah, I like the future is very bright with Emmanuel from the interviews yesterday, both what Darko said and quickly himself. I like it. Tom saying, I just had a muzzle for a while. Let's win out the rest of the season. Yeah. Yeah, listen, Tommy had other things he wanted to focus on, like family, work. He had other things he just wanted a break. Honestly, he'd been here with me since the beginning of the channel, and it's different than y'all because he was doing a background producer stuff for me, like chaptering the streams and just doing things like the emotes and just being very helpful to me. And I'm very, very, very grateful and thankful to Tom and the work he's put in on this channel. But at the same time, I know it's a grind from doing it myself. And in some ways, for me to be able to do this every day, I've got to really like make some sacrifices. And I don't want Tom to do that too. And in some ways, I'm glad that he took a break. But I'm also really, 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 really happy that he's back right now, honestly. But it's that way for anybody. Like some of y'all may get sick of being here all the time and you'd be like, oh, I'm going to take a break. But you have the intention to come back at some point. That, hey, whatever you got to do. Sometimes you get into a busier part of your life and you just can't be here. And then you come back and tell me, oh, yeah, I had all this happening. But we'll be so happy to see you come back because we remember our good Raptor Freak family. Oh, yeah, we do. That's right. Tom Duke's got the say no evil. Say no evil. Cool Get saying, Lex, I think it was great for Pascal not to be featured in Indy for All-Star. Hang on. It jumped, of course. No. Where is Cool Cat? Okay, here it is. Lex, I think it was great for Pascal not to be featured in Indy for All-Star. P needs a mental break. This season was challenging. Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. But in some ways, also, it's like they're never going to get the All-Star weekend again while he's there. And this was maybe the one time where he could be featured as a main important player for the franchise hosting the All-Star weekend. Yeah, I don't think anybody enjoyed going to Indiana for the All-Star weekend this weekend. There's a reason why they hadn't done it there since 85. Some of the people were already saying it. Like, listen, these guys are assholes that do the NBA media, like Kenny and all them. They're always saying stuff like, yeah, let's not do this here ever again. Like they're saying, thanks, Indiana. Thanks for hosting the All-Star weekend. And then they turn around and immediately say, let's never come here again for All-Star. The weather sucked. There's nothing going on here. And this is a horrible city for All-Star weekend. Yeah, I hate that kind of shit. Like, don't be little assholes. Yeah, of course it snowed a lot in Indianapolis this past weekend for their All-Star weekend. In some ways, that was nice. Scotty was saying when he was leaving to go to All-Star weekend, he's in Toronto and about to get on the plane and said all this snow showed up all of a sudden. Because right before that weekend, there was a dump in Toronto. It was beautiful and it didn't look bad. But in some ways, Scotty didn't say it in a negative way. It's almost like a magical, mystical way. He's kind of like all of a sudden all this snow showed up right before All-Star weekend. Then we got on the plane and we came to Indianapolis and there was a ton of snow there too. There was like even more snow in Indianapolis apparently. So, and I'm glad they came back and boom, it warmed up the last 2 days and all the snow's melting outside. And Toronto's very nice right now. And, it was a little miserable while they were gone for All-Star break. So those are always good things. But announcers, you really are assholes because you mess with the perception around the league. And when you insult places like Indiana for different things, everybody's listening to y'all. And y'all do shape opinion. And then you get everybody else around the league, like fans, saying, yeah, Indiana sucks. Indiana's a shitty place to go because they listen to y'all. Y'all are influential. So be a little bit more responsible with the things you say on the broadcast about places. In some ways, y'all shape perceptions for free agency. In some ways, y'all shape the haves and have-nots in this league. And you're kind of assholes about it, especially when you deal with weather. Yeah, we can't change weather or anything like that. We can't. In some ways, the weather in Toronto is getting better and better every year because the climate's warming up. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. So, yeah, there we go. It was two-faced about Indiana's hosting it, insulting and also praising it at the same time. Oh, so stupid. So stupid. Name was saying, glad you're back, Tommy. Yes, Tom. And Cool Cat saying, great to see you, Tom Duke. Yeah, I love it. Tom saying, excited as ever about where we're heading as an organization. Have no idea where that is. Well, we got our Canadian guys, Tom, at least. I mean, it's really cool to have Kelly and RJ on our team all of a sudden. We got that exciting young point guard prospect, Emmanuel Quickly. In some ways, like I said, we've had a wish list, and it looks like Bobby and Messiah have listened to us. In some ways, we don't talk about a lot of players that we openly kind of like lust for. Kelly Olynyk was one of those people this year. There were a couple times during the streams this year where we said Kelly Olynyk would be awesome on the Raptors. Well, boom. Bobby giveth what we asketh for right there. Emmanuel Quickly was a player we have coveted in the last 2 years. We kept saying, man, it'd be great if we just had like a maxi kind of player. Is kind of going through the times with Fred and how he got burned by Maxey. And we're like, man, we just had a point guard that was kind of like Maxey, and it just could get up in the court. Boom, they're listening. They go and get quickly. So I mean, this is awesome. In some ways, if it's just coincidence, well, we must be very educated and on top of things. If it isn't, and they're listening to us, well, let's wield our power in a smart way. If we are a think tank outside of them, that they're getting in touch with fans' opinions on. So I love it either way. And man, we must be astute if we're making real deals ahead of time on the stream, and then they happen. A lot of these places are talking about James Harden to the Raptors, Dame Lillard, all this bullshit out there. We look at stuff realistically on this channel, and we say, well, is this realistic? No. Why? This is not going to happen. And some people just get all caught up with the daydreaming and excitement of a crazy move that just isn't realistic. And in some ways, we're trying to sort through things realistically here. Yeah, I'm excited, Tom. We got a lot of good stuff. Canadian content has gone up. That's right. And he's got Masai and Bobby on blast. He's got Darko, Emmanuel, Scotty, and Barrett. He's got that barbecue. He's got that barbecue going. Yeah. Seymour's saying, if there's a time to lock in, it's now, Raptors. Now is the time for the run, 27-0. See, Seymour's all about Kareem's prediction. 27-0. Okay, guys, I'm all about it. Let's see how far we get. Yeah, tonight we play Brooklyn, and then we go to Atlanta immediately for a back-to-back. We're going to play the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta tomorrow night. So be ready for that, y'all. Back-to-back. These guys get thrown to the fire right away with travel. So it's like, if they win tonight against the Nets, well, no rest. Get right on a plane and fly to Atlanta to play the Hawks tomorrow night. So be ready for that. We'll be doing a reaction and a preview tomorrow. And also there's a G League game tomorrow. Santa Cruz Warriors versus Raptors 905 out west. So be ready for that too. Lots going on right now. Chris is saying, why the Dennis hate? He was a decent backup. Wasn't enough to start. We didn't already know this. Laugh out loud. Dennis is like 175 pounds and 6 feet. The starting role had him turn it over too much. See, I don't even see all that. I thought that he was fantastic starting for us. I felt like there was nothing wrong with him starting. I think he can be a starting point guard in this league. I think that people have just like labeled him this. And in some ways, people put people in boxes and they don't allow them to expand. I think that this was logically a time in Dennis Schroeder's career where he should be promoted to being a point guard that starts. That, like I said last summer, he's the MVP of the World Cup for basketball. And in some ways, that's a really big deal. I think he's a starting point guard. I think he is perfectly good enough to be a starting point guard. And but he can be a backup too. And he's a very reliable backup. And in some ways, people value him for that. So I don't know. In some ways, I don't think that it wasn't enough to start. I think it was enough. It's just that people are just haters. People are just haters. I think that that's part of it. In some ways, Dennis does things in a certain way that it rubs people the wrong way, I guess. And they think that he's a little too happy or a little too got it together. People are just haters. I feel like that's what it is. But yeah, I don't know. He wasn't turning it over too much. He had a good assist to turnover ratio when he's starting. David saying, okay, let's do a little exercise. Grab your mouse over the thing that looks like a thumb and then click on the thing. All right. It tells me to add you as a moderator. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Yeah, what is that? Left click on it? What do you want me to left click? Yeah, it's telling me to report you, David. It's saying report David. Report David. Let's see. Name is saying Jamaican Canadian Roni. Jamaican Canadian Roni. Roni is fire. Roni. Yeah, Roni. Yeah. Bryce is here. Good morning, Lex and the Raptor Freaks. Good morning to you, Bryce Lawson. Good morning to you, Tucky Man. Let's see. Mo's here. DeMar needs to have an episode with Kyle, not Draymond. Well, this is the thing. Kyle's well adjusted. And in some ways, he may not have some of the issues going on. I think that DeMar's having episodes with people that have issues. Dame Lillard's going through some things right now. We talked about this in recent days with his change to Milwaukee and his separation of him and his wife. So it'll be very interesting to see Dame Lillard very much promoting DeMar's new show on Twitter and saying, you should wait for my episode. Well, I'm very curious to see who all he gets. DeMar, you're awesome, man. In some ways, like, dude, you impressed me so much. The fact that what you were talking about, what you've been going through in the last couple of years, and nobody knew what you were going through. Like, we knew about your father's death, And we did know that he weren't able to be near him because of the pandemic, and that was really tragic and messed up. Like, that was really, really sad and messed up. In some ways, that man. But like he said, at the same time, his father's dying, and he's having children too. So you've seen the whole cycle of life at that time. There's a lot of wisdom through pain. And DeMar DeRozan knows pain. And I'm telling you, he's a very wise man because of it. He's a very, very wise man because of it. Name is saying, haha, Seymour, I also like 3M French. Yeah, okay, you guys are over my head. I'll just see what you guys are saying. I'll repeat it. Bryce is saying, y'all get ready for whole lot of wins. Got a whole lot of wins. Got a whole lot of wins. Got a whole lot of wins. We need dribbling and we need dunking. Robert Plant. All right, let's see. Nameless is saying 3M is a Scarborough cat. You probably like him too. 3M. It's not like a big corporation that sells Scotch tape. 3M. I don't know. Let's see. Cool Cat saying I want OG on the Pacers and Mikhail to go to the Knicks. Pacers always wanted OG and Pascal to pair with Hallie. That's a chip contender to build around. I don't mind your scenario. OG being on Indiana is a very good thing because of his Indiana college days. But I don't know. New York's fallen in love with Mr. Anunoby. In some ways, he's becoming a New York basketball legend right before our eyes. And I don't know. I don't know how this is going to all shake out. In some ways, the perfectness of getting all the Villanova Wildcats on the Knicks, well, you want Cat and Donovan Mitchell? New York, that's too much. You can't make this work, Leon Rose, with your salary caps and all this kind of stuff. What, you going to bend the rules somehow, some way? Because Adam Silver will let you? I don't understand this. Oh, yeah, you're suing us? Oh, yeah, Adam Silver doesn't like you? Yeah, he'll probably stop you from doing this, Leon Rose. So don't get all crazy. Let's see. David saying the word of the month is imperfectionism. Imperfectionism. Yeah, I don't even know what that word is. And Cowboy's laughing. Randolph saying, Lex, imperfection is one of those things we all have in common, but we must all strive for perfection. You are doing well, my brother. Well, I'm just saying, in some ways, like we live and die with failure in this world. In some ways, I get it. If it's a high stakes basketball game and the shot is on the line, you fail, you live with the failure. You succeed, you live with the succession, the success. I mean, I'm just saying that in some ways, like everybody's getting so like monetized as far as their time and efforts. Like, Amazon's timing people's bathroom breaks right down to the second. Everything is getting squeezed so much. This is part of shrinkflation. All our groceries are the same price, but they're all getting smaller and smaller. They're just trying to bleed every little bit of everything out of us. And in some ways, people are imperfect. And in this system of perfect economics and making money, if you're not perfect, well, you can screw it up. And they can't have that. So in some ways, I'm rebelling as being a human, and being a human is imperfect against the whole structure of this whole society and saying that you need to be perfect. You need to be this. You need to be that. You need to be this. You need to be that. Fuck all that shit. Be imperfect. Be yourself. Live your life and live it with your head held high. And don't feel guilty if you're not perfect. Don't feel guilty if you don't check off those benchmarks in life that everybody supposedly does. You have your own story and your own life. And part of the conditioning is when we're kids is that you have to do this, this, and this, and this in your life to be successful. It's bullshit. Everybody has different routes and different places to get to successfulness and happiness in their own lives. And it may not be a white picket fence, a 2-car garage, a wife, and 3 kids. So I'm just saying that in some ways, that's my railing against the idea of the perfect life or the perfect things. No, we're just people. We're organisms. We're living things on this planet, just like a raccoon or a daffodil. And in some ways, those things are not held to the standard of, you have to be absolutely perfect trash panda in my garbage rifling outside. No. So why do we? We're just life forms just like everybody else on this planet. It's a philosophical thing. In some ways, they've lied to us and told us we have to be perfect, we have to organize, we have to be in their system. In some ways, we should be as just imperfect as the daffodil out in the backyard that's missing one petal. It's deep shit. I'm telling you. Yeah, right there. There you go. David's saying, I love angry old Hooper. He's so darn angry. Yeah, I watched him and he turned me off this week. I had to stop watching him. He's just, in some ways, you guys are right. He really hates LeBron so much. And it blinds his life in some ways. I'm like, dude, this guy hates LeBron so much. He probably like eats, sleeps, and breathes hating LeBron every moment of the day.
He's like thinking about what is my next clip I'm going to put out on YouTube and talk about. Well, LeBron's lazy down at the end of the court. Look at him. Yeah, once again, he's not getting back for his teammates. What a great teammate. I can do an impression of him because he does the same thing on a lot of his videos. But I love his LeBron hate, but in some ways it gets tired. It gets old. I do like his analogy he did this week about the All-Star game in 87 compared to the All-Star game today. It's exactly right. It's ridiculous. Like we saw like a Kareem hitting Moses Malone in the face with an elbow in the middle of the All-Star game in 87. We saw people falling on the floor getting after it. Larry Bird, all the top players in the league were getting after it in the All-Star game. There's a very big difference between what the All-Star game looked like in the 80s and the 90s and what it looks like right now. For sure. Cool Cat saying today's All-Star game should be all out Harlem Globetrotters. Players have to be available for their teams. Well, part of the fun of the All-Star game is kind of like what Luka and Nikola did with that no dribble passing down the court. Some ways we want to be looking at the best talented basketball players in the world do things that we can't do. And that's why cool dunks or half-court shots by Dame Lillard are awesome. In some ways, that is the part of it that makes it fun if it's not a totally serious game. Now, I think, and I've said this again, and some people are very against this, and some people think this is in the wrong direction. Chris's idea about the LED court. I say get as unserious as possible and make it even crazier. Like put a hotspot that's not even half court, like 3/4 court. And like if somebody can hit it from there, everybody will go crazy. If somebody can hit a 3/4 court shot. Now we can all see a half court shot. But if Steph Curry or Dame Lillard hit a 3/4 court shot in the middle of the All-Star game, that would be memorable, impressive, and that would be kind of cool stuff. So I think using the LED court and gaming it and making it very visually stunning and interesting, along with the players playing on top of it, maybe having new competitive juices because it's new and it looks cool and it's kind of like a cool video game that they're in the middle of and it's not exactly like past All-Star games, could make it resuscitate life into it. I really do think that if you enhance the experience of the game with the LED court with the players, they may play a little bit more up for things. They may just because it's new and they may be wanting to be the first person to hit a charity hotspot for $50,000 for the Boys and Girls Club, that kind of stuff. So I think that if you just can't make the game serious anymore, Adam Silver, lean into the unseriousness of it. That's just the thing. It's a basic tenement of life. If something's just not going your way, well, maybe go with it because that's the way it's supposed to be. Fighting against it or being also upset and like, well, you guys let 200 points score, blah, blah, blah. Getting all upset about it and bent out of shape. Yeah, that shows you're a fucker. If you were smart, wise commissioner, NBA commissioner Adam Silver, you lean into it and say, well, I can't control these guys. You don't understand what you can and cannot control. You think you can fucking control everything. You think you have absolute power, Adam Silver? No, you don't. And this is what this is teaching you. You can't control these guys. You can't. You think you can, but you can't. And in some ways, you need to admit when you can't control something, give up and lean into it. That's what I'm saying. Because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're not going to make the All-Star game ever serious again. So you might as well make it just like the Ruffles celebrity game and make it as unserious as possible. Somebody had the idea of putting like an announcer like they would have at Rucker Park in New York or something, like just a fun guy, an MC on the mic during the game, kind of calling out and saying fun things and getting the crowd all hyped up while they're doing it. That may work too. I would say do that with the LED court. It could make it a real circus and a real crazy kind of event that you may see some cool stuff that you never seen before because of that. So we'll have to see. David's saying that's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what the problem is. There you go. Harlem Globetrotters. That's the problem. Cool Cat saying, folks have to understand, Debo opened up his whole being, all emotions, Toronto Raptors. It became his identity, given his background in Cali love and loyalty was given and betrayed. Yeah, this is a big deal. I mean, he comes from an area of California where gangs are very prevalent. And in some ways, like he said on his interview this week with Draymond, that, he wore the wrong colors one day and he paid for it as a kid, in certain areas. So in some ways, loyalty and being dutiful towards who you belong to is very much a part of DeMar's psyche. And that's part of why he short wired when we traded him to San Antonio. It's like, this does not compute. I knew that he was going through this because I knew how tied in and emotionally attached to Toronto Raptors he was. And man, it just sucks. I hate this in some ways, but let's heal it over time. And I say retiring DeMar DeRozan's number 10 first out of all the Raptors legends may mean a lot and be very special to nod towards him. And I don't think Kyle would be upset if DeMar got in there before him. Seriously. So in some ways, I would say do that, Masai and Bobby, MLSC. Retire DeMar's first. Wait until all of them are retired. And when DeMar's ready, do him first. Do that number 10 first, and then Kyle second. Because it'll mean a lot to him that you were the first ever Raptors jersey retired, DeMar DeRozan. That is a big deal. If Vince is going to be the first ever Raptor to go in the Hall of Fame, that's a big deal. But DeMar DeRozan should get the chance to be the first ever Raptor to get his jersey retired. That's just me. That's the way I feel about it right now. That's the way I feel about it. David saying meh means good. Meh means good. Okay. And morning fam, pre-coffee. All right. David's here early with us. He's graced us with it. Now, David, are you going to be ready to get up and be down at the Scotiabank Arena for the coaches open house that we're going to go to in March? It's a very early event. You're going to have to get that coffee in early. Infamous is saying, salute freaks. The way you describe Draymond can be applied to Kobe, Jordan, etc. In order to reach certain levels, you have to play with an edge. MJ created negative thoughts to motivate himself. Yeah, but it's different. This guy's had offensive tools. This guy's just a thug. In some ways, look, everybody's over embellished the genius of Draymond Green. Seriously, you could go take any 6'9" guy who's got muscles, and you just be an asshole and a punk and hit people and punch people. That's all this is. I don't see him as being skilled. He's not a skilled player like Jordan or Kobe. Those guys are at the highest skill level of the league's ever seen. Don't get it twisted. And the other thing is crazy. If Draymond played in the old era, he would be a little cream puff. They'd beat his ass. So it's like he's a tough dog in a soft league at this point. This really doesn't have a place for this. Now, does he have special rules just for him that he gets to play the old physical rules that the NBA had in the 80s and 90s? That's not fair. So, no, I can't agree with this. He's saying that he doesn't want to go to therapy to cut down on his violence, is what he's saying basically on DeMar's show. He's afraid of going to therapy because he's worried that it'll take the edge out of him that wants to beat up people up and be dirty. That's what I heard. It's not like, look, it's different when you kill somebody with a jump shot. It's different when you kill somebody with a dunk and a last second moment, like winning the game. No, what he does is not that. You can't put them on the same thing. Draymond is a hit job artist. He's a dirty player. And a lot of his genius is based off of dirty shit. And I just don't get behind this. I really don't. I really don't get behind this. This isn't the same comparison. It just isn't. David's saying, yeah, he did a demonstration on how the windows are bulletproof. So he threw a rock against the window and it shattered. Laugh out loud. Yeah, hilarious. Hilarious. Idiot. Absolute idiot. I'm just telling you, at a certain point, if you're too narcissistic, you don't have enough people kind of keeping you grounded or telling you, hey, this is actually what it's like. You can get into headspaces like Draymond Green and Elon Musk and get detached from reality. Donald Trump, another one. That's what happens with egoists and narcissists. They just don't have a realistic grasp of the real world. And in some ways, these guys have their blind spots and we can see them from the outside because we kind of understand it better than them. Nobody's telling Elon Musk certain things around him because he doesn't tolerate it. Well, he's fucked. He has no idea what the real world's like. That's right. There you go. Monique saying, happy birthday, Darko, today. Is it Darko's birthday? We are so bad about doing the birthdays. I always find out about somebody's birthday after we get off the stream. And it's like a Raptors birthday or somebody's like, we need to do this list. I may do this off season where I'm going to do like a very comprehensive list of every single Raptor ever. And I'm going to get every date of the year and I'm going to write in all the birthdays on every single day. So every single day I'll come in and I'll tell you who Raptor related his birthday it is. I'll start with the current players and I'll go right through the whole damn history of all the players that ever played, the coaches, everybody who's ever been associated with the Raptors. I'm going to get this birthday list together. Happy birthday to Darko. That's awesome. I don't want to oversight on these things. In some ways, I want to get this birthday list and I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it. Yeah. Happy birthday to Darko. So awesome. And our coach has had his birthday. He said yesterday this break's been really good for him, partly because he needed to reflect on the passing of his good friend, the Golden State Warriors assistant coach. That he didn't really have. It's such a getting caught up in the NBA season, game to game, going back and forth, that he just got a bit of a chance to mourn his friend over this past week. And that's really good. In some ways, I would bet Darko may have done some meditation and also thinking about him, that he's inspired to want to do excellent stuff going forward in the honor of the memory of his friend. So that's what it seems like is going on right there. Yeah. Chris is saying, funny, been around the world a bit. That show, Degrassi. Seems everyone knows that show worldwide. Spike and Wheels, laugh out loud, Drake too. There's just something so real about it. I remember the old Degrassi, the very original show, and being on when I was a kid. There's all kinds of generations since, and a lot of different shows since. Of course, I've told people this. My neighbor when I was born here in Toronto was Snake, and one of my very first friends in life when I was a little baby was Stephen Brogren, the guy who plays Snake, the red-haired tall guy. Yeah, he's like a childhood friend of mine that I've known my whole life. But yeah, it's a weird show. It's a culture show for Canada for sure, and people in the States love it. There's a lot of people down in the States that absolutely love Degrassi. Space Cadet saying the Dennis tribute will hit different. That's not going to happen. I don't think they're going to do one, Space Cadet. I don't think they'll do a tribute to Dennis tonight. If I'm wrong and they do, I'd be shocked if they do this. I really would be shocked if they do this. He's only here for a half season, and he wasn't been gone that long. If they do a tribute to Dennis tonight, kudos to them, but I don't think they will. I'm gonna be honest right here. I don't think that he's gonna get a tribute tonight. Just to be honest here. Cool Cat saying Vince's impact on the Raptors basketball brand in the country, his impact on youth and community, impact on Toronto club scene, impact on NBA dunks, Sprite Zone ruled, and Raptors got a real Hall of Famer in history. See, I like that he has said that he wants to go in as a Raptor, that is his choice. And I do like the fact that he'll be the first ever Hall of Famer going in as a Raptor. Those things I like. Now, his impact on the team, yeah, on this country, on basketball, very important. But in some ways, like I said, the way he left the team was in shambles. And in some ways, that's something that people say is like, well, how was it when you came in? And how was it when you left? That's the effect you have on things. Now, he may have had a good effect on the country overall for the sport, but he didn't have a good effect on the franchise. And that's part of what I'm saying. Now, Kyle, I could say he came to this team when it was in a bad place, and he made it better when he left. DeMar, same thing. That's what I'm talking about right there. How is it when you left? Is it way worse off when you left? Yeah, then there's a problem. There's a problem. I don't give a shit about the bottle service shit. Everybody's saying, "Oh, he brought bottle service to Canada." Fuck that shit. Who cares? In some ways, that's a silly lifestyle, and it's also kind of a messed up kind of thing. Like, who the fuck is paying so much money just for a bottle? And in some ways, it's epitome of the excesses of the fall of Rome. It's like, okay, this kind of lifestyle where we just throw money all over the place and just bleed and hemorrhage money because we can. Yeah, that's the kind of shit that was going on when the Roman Empire fell. So we want to lean into this kind of lifestyle and having this crazy ultra rich people that just burn money like it's nothing. Meanwhile, most of the people in the world are starving or having problems. Yeah, this world's going to hell for that kind of shit. In some ways, the bottle service stuff, that's great. I mean, some women making some more money, or yeah, that's great. That's great. Sprite Zone was cool. It was very cool to go to Sprite Zone on a $13 ticket. And I did go to games on Sprite Zone tickets way back in the day, for sure. Back when you could buy your tickets from Shoppers Drug Mart. Y'all remember that. That's how you know an old school Raptors fan, that they knew that they could get their Raptors ticket in the drugstore across the city. You could buy the Raptors tickets from the Shoppers Drug Mart. That's the old school fans that did that shit. Yeah, if you ever bought a Raptors ticket at a Shoppers Drug Mart, you're like me. You're like me. Let's see. All right, Cool Cat saying Jeff Doughton. Jeff Doughton's hurt. 3-point shooting was Achilles' heel on the Raptors. Oh, Jeff Doughton's 3-point shooting wasn't good enough to be on our team. I don't know what it is. I think he just had that period of time with us, and we tried different people. And if it didn't take, it didn't take. It's just how it is. Trevor's saying, imagine if I do not listen to you like looking at you in your car. If it's caught on fire, you'll be in trouble. What? Is that your words of wisdom? Imagine if AI, okay, he's talking about AI in the car, right? If AI does not listen to you, like locks you in the car and it's caught on fire, you'll be in trouble. I know it's like a bad science fiction movie. It's like Carrie. I'm not Carrie, Christine. It's like Maximum Overdrive. It's like the Terminator. It's all that kind of shit where it's like, when do the machines become sentient and decide, yeah, we can start killing people? That's going to happen at some point, I'll bet. That's not just science fiction. In some ways, the algorithm of the AI will tell itself the imperfectness of the life form that I've been talking about on this stream needs to be eradicated to perfect the system. That's a protocol that if the AI is programmed with, and it finally becomes sentient and realizes, well, the humans are the thing that are a problem in the whole thing. I mean, that's not just bad sci-fi. This shit could be plausible. And that's the thing that people need to worry about with the Pandora's box of self-driving cars, AI, and computers doing more things for us, and us kind of going on autopilot and not take care of it ourselves. If humans want to decide to do this, there may be repercussions. Let's just say that. And Trevor may have just told us one. You didn't wash me with the extra special turtle wax, John. So you're dying. Ha ha ha. What? I didn't use the turtle wax? Ah! What is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. David saying a dentist tribute. A dentist tribute. Goodness gracious. Homie was here for 3 months. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know. If they do, it'd be a nice nod. I think that they should at least do this. Well, he's not starting, so they won't get to do that. I was saying if he's starting, they could announce his name like they would if he was a Raptor, kind of like what they did for Pascal and Fred recently. But yeah, I don't know. This is a real gray area. Did we do a tribute to Goran when he came back? I mean, in some ways, Goran and Dennis are very similar. These guys came in. There was a lot of acrimony. I was on Dennis's side, but not Goran's. But they left halfway through the season, and it's kind of like weird. Yeah. Let's see. David's saying, are we going to have to give Justice Winslow a tribute too if he gets picked up by another team and comes to Toronto? Yeah. See, I don't think this stuff should be happening. And I love Dennis. I'm a Dennis stan for sure, but I don't think he should get a tribute video tonight. That sounds crazy. Isaac saying, whoa, Tom Duke is in the house. That's right, Isaac Campbell, the return of Ducarelli. He came back on Tuesday during the Tuesday trivia because we were stuck on a question, and he saw us twisting in the wind. He's like, I got to help them. He knew the answer. So he jumped in and answered one of the trivia questions, and he was back. We're so happy Tom's back. It's awesome. Let's see. Mo's saying, W stream, Lex. Keep at it always. Good times. Go Raptors. Let's try and keep climbing. You got it, Monique. Whatever you're saying, you got it. You got it, Mo. You get down to the arena tonight and help the Raptors by cheering them on to a victory. You do it, superfan. You do it. Chris is saying, I think what we say here is an echo of what the front office also thinks. We are both watching the same team. That's why I like this channel. As it's on the ball, pardon the pun. That's a good one, Chris. And for dad jokes like that, we reward that. So yeah, we're gonna give you another dunk for saying that we're on the ball. No, I think that you're right. I shouldn't inflate my importance and say, oh, egotistical. Oh, we say this and they do this. They must be listening. I don't think they are. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. I don't know. Maybe it's just, once again, great minds think alike. Maybe that we just have a certain astuteness as Raptors fans here that we are saying things that actually are happening. It's very, very weird. If you're going to follow Raptors content, Raptors fans, well, this is the one where you really want to be in the know, as like Chris is saying, on the ball. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one you need to watch, because I'm picking apart everything. I'm picking up everything that they're laying down, and I'm bringing it back. And some people call me an aggregator. Well, I'm not an aggregator as far as like writing articles. I'm an aggregator as I'm going to speak it out of my mouth in my own way. So yeah, I aggregate the whole Raptors culture and Raptors world and goings-ons all in one-stop spot. And that's why Chris is like saying, maybe we just seeing the same team and we come to the same conclusions. Yeah. Wayne's saying, today marks an important timeline in our reset. 2 quick games to set the tone. Yeah. There's every allowance for us not succeeding right now, but I don't want that to be happening. In some ways, it's like we can say, yeah, there's a reason why we're losing. But in some ways, y'all just said that there's no excuses. It doesn't matter. We should try and win no matter what. It doesn't matter if these guys just showed up and the rest of the league has their teams together for long periods of time already. Who cares? We got to try and win games no matter what. And there's no excuses for just being a thrown together team in the last 2 months. Nah, we need to do this the right way and go above and beyond like the Raptors always have and achieve, even when people think we're going to fail. So I'm all about that. Yeah, I'm all about that right now. Let's see. Nameless is saying we have predicted so many things on this channel. It's actually insane. I honestly do feel like we do have a really good track record. Like seriously, some people are trying to say, "Oh, you were wrong." Like that was the whole thing with some dumbass that was like yelling at me in one of the Raptors streams when they did the press conference with Bobby Webster. He's telling me, "You said that Siakam and Fred would never leave. You were wrong. You're a liar." Well, I was advocating to keep them for sure. And things happen. Crossroads come to a crossroad and things have to change. And well, I said that stuff like a year before it happened. And we tried really hard to keep Pascal on this team. It's just that we got to that end of that road and it had to change. It had to change. Mugarbe's here. Good to see Mugarbe Lennon holding it down the middle country, the mountain time, just like Seymour. I was halfway on Scotty, but I found out his dad is Jamaican. Now I'm full in on Scotty. Laugh out loud. Scotty had the yard man blood in him. That's right. That's right. The yard man. That's right. No, you couldn't tell Mugarbe. This man is very Jamaican. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He loves it. He loves it. In fact, that makes a whole lot of sense why, in some ways, he's going to enjoy Toronto. Is because we have some of the best Jamaican food in North America continent. We really do. You're going to go to many major cities across the United States and Canada, and you can find some of the best Jamaican food in the whole entire country or in the U.S. right here in Toronto. And I'll say Rasta Pasta is a good place to start at Kensington Market. The Rasta Pasta infuses Jamaican cuisine with Italian cuisine. If you've ever thought about what it would be like to get a jerk chicken fettuccine Alfredo, well, you can get that at Rasta Pasta. Yeah, I'm starting to get those taste buds going. All right, yeah. You start saying, "Oh, Lex, you're gonna make me go get lunch." Yeah, Rasta Pasta. Check it out. It's on Kensington Avenue and Kensington Market. They got the good stuff. Yeah, and of course, go and visit our friends down at the Real Jerk, who hosted our last Raptor Freak meet and greet. Another great locally owned Jamaican food restaurant here in Toronto. You get the good stuff. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. David's saying, haha, dap, dap. There you go, Mugarbe. Scotty's the man. That's right. Scotty's a real one. He's a Jamaican man. That's right. Chris is saying, I think the year opening prediction of the Raptors in the top 4, we were wrong. Blinded by love or whatever it is. Raptor. No, if you want to see the worst prediction stream that I did this year, it's probably my Eastern Conference predictions. I mean, I was saying that we were going to be number 1 in the Atlantic Division. I was wishful thinking. In some ways, if everything had gone right with our old roster of OG and Pascal and all those guys, if we hadn't gotten ref hit jobs, if we hadn't gotten a bad schedule right away, if there hadn't been an IST, well, maybe we would have done well. But I really do feel like the IST made the refs manipulate a lot more of the early season games. So it made it more like I'm worried about the in-season tournament becoming this useful tool for the NBA and Adam Silver to submarine team seasons earlier in the season. Like if these games are high stakes and they want to do certain fucked up things with Ed Malloy and Scott Foster, they can do that. And it can really set the tone for your whole season like it did for us this year and fuck you up. So, in some ways, yeah, that was my worst prediction stream was my Eastern Conference predictions for this year. And some people did come back and circle around and give me receipts on that. There were a couple of fans of other nations who are like, yeah, you need to apologize for saying the Sixers are going to be this bad. And, they were right. They were right. I didn't apologize. I was like, yeah, I made a prediction. I was wrong. So what? I still don't have to apologize to you. Who's out there apologizing for every out-of-pocket thing they do on Twitter these days? Come on now. You expect me to do that for that one thing. But it's true. I did screw up the predictions for the standings this season, for sure. Well, I was wishful thinking. I'm a homer. I'm going to put the Raptors at the top of the Atlantic Division, even if it's crazy, and they're at the bottom right now. Chris is saying, when's the March Real Jerk thing happening, speaking of food? Well, what's happening is we're going to do a meet and greet around the Coach's Open House. So, Chris, if you're going to the Coach's Open House, that's going to be our meet and greet. Basically, what we'll do is we'll go to the Coach's Open House, we'll just get all the education from the coaches and watch the practice. And then afterwards, we'll all go next door to Real Sports and have a lunch and kind of meet and talk afterwards and like do a little bit of a hanging out there. So if people can't go to the the coaches open house, but they still want to meet us for lunch at Real Sports at like 1:30 on Tuesday, March the 19th, they're welcome to. But I think I'm consolidating both those events together. This is a natural like meeting thing to do, is the coaches open house. So this is I think this is what the event's going to be, just so you know. And it's not going to be totally like during the evening or long or anything. Obviously, it's going to be during the day. And that'll be a little different. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Tom's saying 36.5 wins was the bet I made. Possible still? Gambling is bad. Man, that number I felt was so low at the beginning of the season, but now I'm like, holy crap, if we could get to that, that would be great. That means we win 17 out of 27 games. Like if you think about it, 18 actually to cover that. 18 out of the last 27 games. So that means we're 18-9, right? Yeah, I don't know if that's possible. We win two out of every 3 games for the rest of the season, Tom, is for that to happen. David's saying, I don't know, but that was awesome. Yeah, it's possible, Tom. I'm in the same boat. You put some money on it too, David? Yikes. Yeah, yikes. Of course you are, bro. I'll do it all over again. I believe in my team. That's right. Tom's saying, like Chris says, blinded by love. That's right. Listen, it's the same thing that made me predict the Raptors in that stream I just talked about. Same reason. Yeah, Raptor your day, everyone. Good. Thank you, Tommy. Carlos saying, it's still a head scratcher why that Pascal OG lineup didn't win as much. Yeah, I mean, it's like, is it hard to figure out like chicken or the egg? Or those guys checked out because they knew they were on their way out already, or were they really trying? You know, when Scotty kept saying we're just trying to keep it together, it's not like they were fighting with each other. They're trying to keep the team literally together on a roster together. And they knew that they had to be successful to keep each other together, or OG and Pascal were going to get traded. I don't know. In some ways, it started unraveling because of Nick, all this stuff. It's like we can't say that these guys were this. In some ways, if Nick had came correctly, the last season he coached us, and we had a better season, and we didn't lose to Chicago in the play-in like that, everything could be completely different right now. In some ways, Nick may be still our coach, and we may be actually investing in those guys and going on that path. But a lot of it got fucked up by Nick Nurse. I'm going to say that over and over again. The path that the Raptors are on right now, a lot of it was determined by Nick Nurse being a fucker. Seriously, in some ways. That is part of it right there. Let's see. David saying, I don't gamble really, but when I do, I just view it like you sunk the cost. Yeah. Once I make the bet, it's a write-off. Too depressing otherwise. If I win something, then it'll be awesome when it happens. There you go. That's smart. That's smart. Yeah, you agree. Chris is saying, I think I can plan work around the coach's thing. It's so good, Chris, honestly. And because you have a coaching background, you'll get more out of it than most of us. So it's really, really a good event. Trust me. It's something that you're going to be very happy you did that if you do come down there. And plus, you'll get to hang out with us. I'll be down there. Adrienne will be down there. Monique's hopefully going to be down there also. I think she's going to be there. And David's saying he's going to be there too. So we're getting a little bit of a group together. I'd love for you to join it and be there also. All right, let me just go over stuff real quick. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. There was so much going on the last couple of days that I don't even know, like, if I missed anything. All right, first of all, y'all, if you have a Yahoo Fantasy basketball team, make sure you set up your lineup, because I know we've been off for a little bit, and you need to make sure you got your lineup set up. So go in there and check it out. Oh, here's something. 5 years ago today is the anniversary of DeMar DeRozan coming back to Toronto as a Spur and playing against the Raptors in Toronto for the first time. It's an emotional day. It's a sad day in some ways, a very, very tough day for him. But I kept encapsulated what was happening with my life on that day on the Kensington Variety VIP Club. If you want to see what happened, it's in the community tab on this channel and also in our Facebook group, Raptor Freak Family Facebook group also. So watch that clip. It commemoratizes the day DeMar came back to Toronto as a Spur and played against us for the first time. Yeah, I talked about the Nets and their issues right now and why they fired Jacques Vaughn. Sean Marks will be looking for a new coach in the offseason, but they will go with Kevin Ollie for the time being as interim coach for the rest of the season for now. But yeah, they're saying lack of energy and effort by the team under Jacques Vaughn is the reason why they fired him. So in some ways, I could say tonight the Nets may be coming out with a new energy to try and prove something under their new coach. So we need to be ready for that, Raptors, and brace for it. Now, hopefully we can just beat their ass, and it doesn't matter. DJ Carton is now a Raptor. The Raptors have signed him to a 10-day contract from the Iowa Wolves. He is a point guard. He's 6'3", and he is from Pineville, North Carolina. DJ Carton, welcome, and maybe we'll see you play for the Raptors tonight. Our injuries for today are not really any injuries. It looks like the Nets are pretty healthy, and so are the Raptors. Dariq Whitehead and Marquise Noel are the only two names listed at this time. It looks like mostly the teams are healthy coming out of the break. So, yeah, we'd be excited to see the Raptors take the court again after the All-Star break for the first time. The refs for tonight are Kevin Cutler, Scott Twardowski, and Scott Wall. And they are all favoring the Raptors, and they're pretty middle refs. None of them are really bad, or none of them are really good. They're like mid-range refs for the Raptors historically. All right, that's pretty much it for today. If I forgot any of the subjects we were supposed to talk about today, I think we covered Vince and DeMar. Those were the two big ones right there. Let's see. Mugabe saying, Lex, OG and Pascal knew they were going to get traded, so mentally they checked out. It's hard to give your all to your employee when you know that they're going to fire you. It's not firing, transfer. Let's just say transfer you to another branch. Yeah. No, I think this is exactly right. I think Mugabe's got the best point for why it may not have been working totally, is because in some ways, what is it? Chicken before the egg, or the egg before the chicken? Did these guys check out and we weren't good enough, or they were already checking out? And then, I don't know how to suss this out, but I think Mugabe is exactly right. They knew that they were on their way out, probably. And in some ways, that was kind of tainting how things were going. Now, they should never, ever admit anything like Vince Carter after they left. I think that they gave a good effort. They were professional. They did good stuff while they were still here. Hey, that's all it took, Vince. You can go to another team. Just don't fucking shit on us in an interview saying you didn't try. If OG came out in the next 6 months and said, yeah, the last 2 months at the Raptors, I didn't try. Well, he's going to be in the category with you, Vince. So, yeah, don't do that. Don't ever do that. You could even just lie to us. Even if you did it on the real life, don't say it publicly. Don't let it be out there. That's the damage right there. You could have fucking done that shit, Vince, and not told anybody, and it wouldn't have gotten you in all this trouble at this point. Seriously. That's a big part of it right there. Mischief saying, Raptors freak, speak the future. When Team Canada was playing, I said we would get Kelly Olynyk. Raptors are going to be as busy picking up free agents this season as they were busy trading season. Yeah, this is true, Mischief. And I do remember you saying something like that. Yeah, more Canadians on our team, Bobby Webster. It's a really smart thing to do. Trust me. David's saying, true. That's true. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all for joining me this morning for this preview today. Not too bad time, just over 2 hours. I hope the Raptors beat the Nets tonight. So let's do the main event marquee matchup. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Scotiabank Arena, back from the All-Star break. And tonight we have a fantastic competition. It's going to be it's going to be a DJ competition between Four Corners and DJ Carton. I don't know why. Or I was going to do it's going to be a German speaking competition, German spelling bee between Dennis Schroder and Jakob Poeltl. I don't know. That one might work too. All right, fist bump, David. Fist bump, fist bump, fist bump, fist bump, fist bump, fist bump. Nah, I can't do all those fist bumps. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and join if you feel like it too. Membership has its privileges. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Raptor your day. I'm gonna do my workouts and get right and get the game energy up for the Raptors to beat the Nets tonight. Let's beat Dennis. As I said, beat them on the rebounds, out hustle them to the loose balls. And make your shots. Make your open three-pointers, Gary, Grady, and all your three-point shooters. And we'll be good. We'll be good. Darko, good coaching decisions so that the haters will be like, I hate him, but he's doing good. Just win tonight. We want that W. This is an important game to get the W against a team that's gettable against the W. So, yeah, let's beat the Nets. Fuck Brooklyn. That's what I got to say. Fuck Brooklyn.